Fucking phone went off just as I went live, and it's
Literally.
not even about that. It's like when you, it's like when you go to Walmart and you're leaving, and then the fucking buzzer goes off, but it's somebody else, but it's right as you walk out the exit. It happens to me every fucking time.
It's
All right,
impeccable timing.
yeah, that happens every time I go to fucking Walmart. But all right, guys, we are live. We've got two people watching. I
What is
think
up,
yes.
everyone?
What is up? What is up? I hope everybody's having a great day. All two of you. Um, those of you that are not familiar with my guest here, I'm gonna go ahead and let her introduce herself. So, floor is yours.
Yay! First off, Zach, thanks for having me here. It's always fun hanging out with you. Remember when we did our the podcast, and that was an awesome time with me, you, and a couple of my buddies. My name is Cassie Cage. That's what I go by. My real name is Cassie. Obviously, I don't put my real last name out there, but kind of probably not the best. But my YouTube is Cult Classic Cage. It's pretty much where people find me at, and I love to talk about video games and a bunch of films. I'm really into like old school film mostly, but I really do love like slashers and horror films. And that's how me and Zach actually met. Like basically we would just make videos talking about Halloween, and that's how we connected. And we've always kept up with each other's videos and always had like good, conversation, particularly around like Halloween, but also some other good horror flicks as well. And I'm happy to be here to talk about Hogwarts Legacy and maybe even this guy right here, because that's definitely what we're into.
Well, that's what we're shooting for. Yeah, we'll do.
Yes,
We will. It's us. We will. But
definitely.
yeah, fucking Hogwarts Legacy. What a launch for a video game.
Yeah, it's almost like the game itself didn't like it's almost like WB didn't need to actually pay for any advertising. It's almost like people that hate the game advertised it themselves, it feels like.
Mhm.
But I actually did purchase the game at launch. I actually pre did the I bought the $10 more version, so instead of paying $7, I paid 80. It's like the deluxe edition. I got like a couple extra outfits and stuff like that, but like the cool thing about it was I got to play it like 3 days earlier than the official release. And I have been playing this game a lot. Like I have about 18 hours in it. I'm at like about level 18, and this game is genuinely a good game. If you're into like straight up like RPG games, role play. I'm not a Harry Potter fan by any means. I just recently watched the first movie because the game was coming out, and I thought it was a really decent, well-made film. I wasn't into Harry Potter as a kid. I kind of thought it was corny, but like looking at it objectively now, at least the Sorcerer's Stone, it's a well-made film, and I could respect it for that. But, as, like, a fan of stuff like, Elder Scrolls, Oblivion particularly, and just, like, fantasy, I think that this is a really great entry, and my when I came in and really just wanted to support this game was because, well, it looked like a genuinely good game, but it seems like a lot of people were just attacking it for really like for reasons that are completely outside of gaming. And then once people essentially said, if you buy this game, you're an evil person or you're not allowed to buy this game, I was like, no, I can't stand for that. I just think that's totally like not cool.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't buy the game not for the obvious reason. I just didn't buy the game because I don't care for Harry Potter. Like I've never been interested in it. Seen all the movies. Went to the theater to see the last couple with my best friend at the time. Just never something that interested me, and um, Hogwarts Legacy was no exception. It just didn't look appealing to me. I'm sure from what I've seen, very well made game. Looks like it runs well, plays well. It's just something like if somebody made a 50 Shades of Grey game and it got really good reviews and stuff, I'm still not buying it. Man,
No, I
because I just
completely
don't like
understand.
50 Shades of Grey. But I can't help but be more intrigued by the controversy that's surrounding the game, because I personally, the way I feel about it is that regardless if you like, I don't think these people that are boycotting the game, I don't think they're inherently good people for boycotting the game. Just like I don't think people that buy the game are bad people because they like Harry Potter. I think that it's just kind of a case of separating. If you are anti J.K. Rowling but you like Harry Potter, there's nothing wrong with that. You can
Yeah.
separate the. I think people should separate the art from the artist, and I think that that's kind of important in this case. If you are anti J.K. Rowling,
Yeah,
I
and
don't
and
really know enough
honestly,
about her.
yeah,
Go
like
ahead.
honestly, I want to say like people that choose like they themselves don't want to buy Hogwarts Legacy because they don't support J.K. Rowling. That's completely fine if that's just like where your stance is. I'm not like people. I keep saying like, yo, I'm really into this game. I think it's a good game. I don't, I'm not trying to force other people to buy the game that don't want to buy the game. If you believe that J.K. Rowling isn't a good person, to be honest, I don't really like her as a person either, but I separate the art from the artist. I think she's kind of like a bit of an annoying feminist, like, like the type of feminist that just barks a lot in general.
Yeah,
And so that, like, I don't think I would ever be able to get along with her as a person. But I mean, her tweets have no real huge factor in daily life for anybody, if it be her barking about feminism or, whatever have you. So if you're just like, hey, I'm just boycotting the game because I don't like her, don't want to support her, that's cool. Where it like becomes problematic and where I'm just like, no, is the people that are demanding that other people do not buy the game and attacking um fans. Like they're Harry Potter, I know, Zach, we grew up around the same, time period. Like
yeah.
Harry Potter was a big deal
Oh
during
yeah,
our generation growing up. A huge deal. Like, I kind of like for lack the best way to explain it is like I was about the same age as those kids in the Harry Potter movies and like they literally grew up as I grew up. Like
yeah.
so it's one of those things like our generation was really into that. I know a lot of Harry Potter fans throughout my lifetime. I went to like parties that were, taking place at movie theaters that we were watching the Harry Potter film. So I know that a lot of diehard Harry Potter fans that are really excited for the game. They have no malice in their heart
Yeah.
toward anybody. They just want to play this fantasy adventure RPG game that takes place in the world that they value. And and then there's people that just like RPGs like me that were interested in the game, that I'm willing to set aside the fact that, oh, this is a Harry Potter world, well, I'll give it a shot because the gameplay looked really cool, because you can literally just jump on a fucking broomstick and just fly anywhere. Like
Yeah.
stuff like that's crazy. And gamers aren't bad for just wanting to play video games. And I just find it, really distasteful and in a line that I don't think should be stepped on when people are saying you're not allowed to buy this game or we're going to attack you if you buy this game. Like I just don't. That's not cool.
And I think the people that are going around doing that are honestly, I think they're hypocrites because they're all about combating bigotry and whatnot and getting rid of hate in society. But what are they going around spewing over a fucking video game? Because
Yeah,
somebody wants to sit and play a fucking video game, like, and then they're on there calling bullying the fuck out of them. And I know there was one that got bullied to the point where they started crying, and it's like, why is this okay? Like, why is this viewed as acceptable in society? Bullying of
yeah,
any kind shouldn't be acceptable. That's my
exactly.
problem with their logic. But
I completely agree. It's just one of those things where, like, there's a middle ground that can be had, but unfortunately, there's just some people that have a lot of social media influence that are willing to get together. And naturally, I'm like a libertarian minded person. Like
same here, same here.
libertarians tend to be like individualistic, so like getting libertarians to come together and do stuff is highly unlikely. Like you really, it'd have to be something like basically the moon and the sun have to perfectly align and the planets all would have to perfectly align to get like libertarians to come together. Whereas like when it comes to the activists that are attacking the game, like they come together in droves and just like attack people, like going on people's Twitch channels. They said, I don't know if you caught that website that they had set up to
Yeah,
search
I did.
whether stream Twitch streamers have streamed the game or not. And it's like their excuse was, well, this is just, to see who streamed it so that they can, that people can avoid them if they so choose to. But we know that, every tool that we have in daily life can be abused. A gun can be abused, a car can be abused. Like, this website can be used for nefarious purposes. And thankfully, a big positive was that the creator of the website did eventually take it down. But like, a lot of us valued that as, like, thought that was a hit list. That's what we thought that is. And while maybe I can't speak for the person that made it, maybe they had good intentions. I can't really say for sure. But we know that people that are malicious would clearly use that as a hit list to figure out who to harass or not. And that's not cool.
No, nothing. That's not cool at all. Hustle and motivate. Hello, what's going on, man?
Yeah, Hustle's a good dude.
Oh,
Appreciate you coming through, Hustle. Really do. Um, we're just talking it up. It's been a crazy experience with this game. A lot of people. It's one of those things where I just feel like I felt the need to just document all the insane, like, minded, like, attacks just towards a video game. A video game that, from everything that I've played, I've put about 18 hours into it. Haven't finished it, but based upon everything I've played, the game does everything to try and get people to accommodate everybody. It doesn't matter, what type of person you are, if you're a boy, if you're a girl, if you identify as something else. It's really just, they do everything in its power to sort of just be able to accommodate everyone. And nothing's perfect, but you could genuinely tell that they go out of their way to do that. So to claim that the developers, are malicious, they stand with J.K. Rowling. They don't
they're doing their
necessarily stand
jobs,
with
in
her.
my opinion.
Exactly.
They're just doing their jobs, developing the fucking game. That's my opinion on it. I mean,
Yeah, exactly. And it's just a strange mindset to have. The devs are not responsible for the things that come out of J.K. Rowling's mouth. J.K. Rowling's an adult, as are
yeah,
developers. Every adult has their own thought processes. At least, if they have a mind of their own.
yeah, and it's like, because of what J.K. Rowling's personal views are on whatever, that shouldn't stop anybody from being a fan of the world that she created. Like, there's like directors that I like, and on musical artists that I like, that I don't agree with anything they say whatsoever, but I
Yeah.
still like their work. Like, it's that simple.
Yeah, and from what I've seen, at least judging from, like, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, I've watched, like, a couple of other movies in the past, but I was too young to really remember. It's been a really long time. I might actually go on, like, a little watch party and just watch all of those films because I like the first one. But from what I've seen of the first film, she doesn't really include any political narrative in her work, or at least judging from the film. I can't really speak for the books, but I mean, you have to, if the artist is willing to separate their political ideology from their work, I think that it's fair to say that I can separate her political ideology
Yeah,
from this work. And she isn't even, the crazy thing is, she has nothing to do with the making of this movie. I mean, excuse me, of
the
this
game.
game. It's completely, it's its own thing. It's not based on any direct source material from, like, Harry Potter heads. I heard that they did a really good job of taking the lore and adapting it to this original game. And that's really cool. But she has nothing to do with the game. Obviously, they have the license that, they have to buy the license to be able to use the property, and she's going to make money off of it. But I just don't see what is the end game of causing all this drama for, the activists that are doing what they're doing. She's a billionaire. She's going to continue to be a billionaire. I don't see people, like, um standing outside and protesting the Harry Potter amusement park that they have, or like the, I don't know, like, theme park that they have, which I heard that she makes an insane amount of revenue on.
Yeah, it's
So
gonna happen regardless if you like her or not. It's just how it is. It's gonna
exactly.
happen.
And
There's nothing
if
you
you
can do about it.
Yeah, and if you believe that she's not a good person, I mean, two wrongs don't make a right. An individual acting out and lashing out and being mean and being willing to do malicious things on the internet. I mean, if you think that she's a bad person for her tweets, I mean, what does that make you if you're going and attacking people and trying to spoil the game? Someone posted a spoiler on
Yeah,
one of
I
my
saw
tweets,
that.
and I hit it because, like, it's like I don't care if you spoil it for me. I'm still gonna enjoy the game regardless. I just didn't want people that read my tweets to be spoiled by it, so I did hide that reply. But that's like, you know, I just don't really think that's cool, and it doesn't make you a good person.
It's hypocrisy because, like I said, like you said, two wrongs don't make a right. Well, these people, these wave of people, these SJW types, these people that are into this idea of political proselytizing everybody into their way of thinking, two wrongs do make a right in, to them, and you can't argue with these people that they don't, that two
Yeah.
wrongs don't make a right, because in their mind they do, and what they believe is right, and anybody that feels differently than them is automatically wrong, racist, homophobic, transphobic, xenophobic, what have you. You cannot win with people that think like this, and you cannot rationalize with them. They're going to go around, they're going to bully people. That's just, they're right, we're wrong. You're wrong
Yeah.
for enjoying the game, buying. You're wrong for that. Just in their minds, in their frail little minds, you're wrong for enjoying the game. They're right. That's just, you cannot rationalize with these people.
Yeah,
It's
and
just how it is.
sadly, it's true, and, like, I'm the type of person, I don't want people to be exactly like me. I think that's kinda weird, you know?
Yeah.
Everyone's gonna have their own personal opinions on things, and some of those things I definitely won't agree with. Some of it I can understand, and some of it I will never be able to understand. But, I wanna know what people's thought processes are. That's how I can distinguish, well, I can hang out with this person, they have a relatively sane thought process. I may not agree with everything that they say, but I can tell that based upon their thought process that they're a person I can hang out with and have fun with. And while we may not agree on everything, um we can understand where each person is coming from. Then, like, there's other people that I do also want to know their thought process that are completely like devoid of reality whatsoever. And it's like, okay, I would like to know this so I know to kind of just, scoot past you and just like, I am very like anti-violence person. I will just avoid the violence because I mean, that's
Me
just
too.
how I am. Yeah, exactly. I'm not
Unless I
like,
have to, but
of course, self-defense is different from, like, violence, like, honestly, I will defend myself if I need to, but I hope it never ever has to get to that point, and I will do everything to try and prevent that from happening within my power. But yeah, if you're, like, a person that's like, "Yeah, there's something wrong with this person, Imma let them do what they do, just as long as they not hurting anyone else, and I'm just gonna keep it moving." So I would like to know that as well. I don't want to try and force everyone to think like me because that's just an unrealistic expectation.
yeah. I mean, because we both feel this way because we've both not been brainwashed and not been proselytized into this way of thinking, where it's more like a cult, it's more like a cultish mentality than an actual ideology. But I mean, like I said, they're going to go around bullying people. They're going to make you, try to guilt trip you for buying the game, and they're going to just do everything they can to make sure that you can't have any success in life, because that's another thing they like to go around and can't the cancel culture BS. And it's, yeah, and I know that's not really anything to do with Hogwarts Legacy, but they all share like cancel culture with this whole Hogwarts. Like they're all ideologies shared by the same group of people that are going around wreaking all this havoc on people's YouTube, Twitches, what have you. And I just think that I think these people that do this stuff are all hypocritical. I think that they have no credibility whatsoever. It's like for example, I got blocked on Facebook because um, there was this girl saying that J.K. Rowling said this and this and that, and all I typed was, "Well, is there a source that I can see this for myself to validate your claim?" And she said no and blocked me. And I'm like, okay, well, that doesn't make you look good at all. Like,
Yeah, exactly. It's just anything, they'll just throw out the typical buzz terms, and it's
mhm.
like either you respond as I think you should, or I don't
you're
want
bye bye.
moving on to the next person that we could try and get into, like, I guess, our cult. And, it's just it's one of those things where, like, me just looking at it from a gamer's perspective, like, I wholeheartedly believe in gatekeeping. And now I like to explain this because, like, gatekeeping can come off, like, in a bad way. Like, for
I agree
me,
with I know what you're about to say, and I actually agree with you. But go ahead.
yeah, like, generally speaking, I don't want to gatekeep people that genuinely want to indulge in my hobby. If you want to be there because you like the way our hobby is and you want to learn more about it, you want to get into it, like, that's great. Like, I welcome you to, like, gaming or whatever hobby you happen to want to indulge in, as long as you're there to be into the hobby for what it is. Now we have bad actors that want to put themselves, like, put their influence and change gaming or any hobby that we may have.
Adam
And
Sessler.
yeah, and it's like those types of people, I'm sorry, but you don't like this hobby, so can you please just go somewhere else if you don't like it? You're not welcome here, because I am tired of trying to of companies especially trying to accommodate people that don't even like this hobby to begin with. All it does is end up hurting, like, you and me, people that have been gaming since, we were single digits. And that's not cool. I'm tired of it. I wish that these companies would stop catering to these sorts of people that aren't, into the hobby to begin with, and stop hiring people that aren't into the hobby to begin with. I'm tired of hearing someone that works for, like, Sony or Microsoft saying some off the wall bullshit that doesn't connect with any gamers at all. Like, just stop doing this stuff. It just hurts, it hurts your connection with your community. And to me, that
Exactly.
that hurts. Like, I've kind of, like, been saying for a while, I might end up becoming a retro only gamer at this point. Like, I could see myself in the next
Might
10
as
years
well.
saying F it and moving on and just playing my old stuff. I've been collecting a lot of it for a long time, so that come upon that rainy time when I'm just like, it's over, I at least have a lot of, stuff that I've collected that I can reminisce on, I can indulge in when I feel like it. Because
Yeah.
I have to have a plan B. That's how I feel at this point.
Yeah. I mean, I feel the same way. I mean, I've been gaming since I was like 4 years old, damn near. Just it's not anything I'm ever going to give up. But if I have to revert back to retro gaming only at this point because of the way the current gaming landscape is, a lot of it is just political propaganda, and a lot of it is just cash grab reboots, annual releases like Call of Duty and sports games and shit like that. It's not getting any better.
Yeah, and
That's all
it's
it is.
like it's getting more expensive. They're giving you less than ever before. It's like the whole goal now for a lot of these companies is like, how do we release this game for full price and then figure out a monetization scheme that will last for years to come, that can be reoccurring? And it's just like, it's to the point where the games don't even feel like an escape. The games don't feel fun anymore. It's just crazy to me that I put on Call of Duty, and the big thing, or Halo. Halo's the best example, because when Halo Infinite dropped, the thing that worked was the store. Everything else was kind of sus.
Yep, yep. I quit playing Halo Infinite. I went back to Halo 5 at this point. I went back to Halo 5 because Halo
Yeah.
5 at least actually works.
Yep.
At
Yep.
least there's
Halo
actually
5 has a good
content in
multiplayer.
game modes. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Or it's
And
like it's like with sports games nowadays. Like they all do that stupid ultimate team bullshit
oh my
where
god, they
it's
make an insane amount of money off of that. I was just reading, I real quick, I was just reading that, like, basically, you know the game Elden Ring, right?
one of my favorite games. Yeah, that's one
Oh
of the
yeah?
really good games that have come out recently.
Okay. So what's crazy, like, to put into perspective, this, like, woke me up out of, like, a mental coma when they were just like, yeah, Elden Ring made, like, an insane amount of money. It was one of the most successful games we've seen in a long time from, like, a single player game.
Right.
And it's one of those things where, even despite the massive amount of sales that Elden Ring received, it still doesn't match, like, the Ultimate Team revenue
Yeah.
of like your Maddens and your FIFAs. It doesn't match it, and it's crazy because it's like and I haven't played it personally, but from what I've seen, it seems like an absolutely superb game. People talked about it all year long. The word of mouth was absolutely insane for that game. And
If you like
still,
Souls games, you'll love it. If you don't, stay away from it. Is my thing.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's why, like, for me, I'm not like a Souls type of person. I've tried like quite a few of them actually. I just don't have the patience. I'm like,
I
I always
Yeah.
just want to attack everything. I can't help myself. I'm like the angry Puerto Rican, Italian, Irish person. In truly, when it comes to video games, I just want to beat the crap out of everything. And it's like Elden Ring. You need to have patience. If you don't, you're gonna take an L, and that's all I know about Elden Ring because all I take is L's in Souls games. That's
It,
just what it.
it reminds me when you first spawn into the world of Elden Ring, you get the tree sentinel there. And my buddy he said he spent like 3 days just walking up to it, trying to kill it. I'm like, no, 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 no. But
My first like Souls game was Bloodborne, and you
that
know
was
how
all
like
right.
you like in Bloodborne, you automatically go up against the boss and you just get yeeted. And there's some people that actually beat that first boss. Didn't I? Died. It's good shit. That's very impressive. I can appreciate people that have patience because I don't.
You got to be real. You have to be a little bit crazy to enjoy Souls games. Really, like
Yeah,
you do have to.
it's crazy to me because it's like it's one of those things where like from my experience with Souls games, I just always feel like I'm just a blob of shit in this world. Like no matter what I get, no matter what weapon I have, no matter what armor I have, I just feel like I ain't shit.
Well, you have to have literally everything maxed out, like I do on Elden Ring, to be able to survive. Like I
See,
maxed out everything. It's just I put a lot of time into that game, but yeah,
that's
no, that was like I said, it's not a game for everybody, but you know what? At least it strayed away from the new norm nowadays, from just being propaganda and bullshit.
yeah.
It's
That's what I
refreshing.
appreciate about a lot of Japanese creators. They kind of don't really indulge in that. Now,
Yeah,
there's exceptions to the rule, obviously, like everything else. But yeah, from what I've seen from was it not Japan Studio, their studio, they don't really engage in like political propaganda. No, they
no,
don't.
and no
They don't do any of that.
microtransactions either. You have to earn everything.
Yeah, and I think games like I said personally, I think that Elden Ring should have been game of the year, and it did end up winning game of the year. And I didn't play it, but I gave my explanation. I didn't need to play it to want this game to win, and the reason why, particularly with the games, because it did everything right. It beat all of the odds. Like Souls games are niche, but Elden Ring went like super ultra mainstream. It and for good reasons, for the gamer reason, and that's
Yeah,
why to me I thought it absolutely deserved Game of the Year, and I'm glad that it won Game of the Year. I think that developers shouldn't be forced to cater their game to every single person's needs. I feel as though like gaming, like video games are art to me,
they
and
are.
how a creator wants to make that art should be how they want to do that. Whether I indulge or not is up to me. Not everything is for everyone. Just like how Elden Ring just isn't for me, but I think that it's great for what it is.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is that people are free to express their political ideology in art. And if I find it, they're free to do that. And if I find it obnoxious and unnecessary, that's my personal prerogative. If I didn't want to buy the most recent release in the Saints Row trilogy, I didn't buy it. I knew exactly what it was going to be when they advertised it, and when it came out, it was exactly what I knew it was going to be. I wasn't surprised, and I saved myself $70. So yeah,
Yeah,
I have a right to not buy it. That's
of
what people don't
course.
understand. The game's coming out. I don't have to buy it. They are allowed. They are more than allowed to express art how they want to express it. Just
Yep.
like I don't have to buy it, and
Yep.
that's what I didn't do.
Yeah, and I feel as though like with your your thoughts and my thoughts honestly because I think we feel the same way about like Saints Row for example, why we personally didn't buy it, like generally speaking. And like people feel as though that our reason for not wanting to buy it is meaningless, and it's like
It's
no,
not.
a business that wants to maximize their profits will listen to criticism, and they should listen to criticism. If you're like with Saints Row, particularly for example, like they used a franchise that's had a long history. The original Saints Row came out like early 360 generation. So
Yep.
in regards to that, like people kind of know what to expect when they see Saints Row. And as like longtime fan, how have you played all the Saints Row games or kind of
I've
just played
played
some?
all the way up to four. I've not played the Get Out of Hell, and I've not played the most
Okay.
recent release.
Yeah, so we're like pretty much in the same boat. So like for us, we know what to expect, and when we don't see those things, like obviously we're gonna voice our dislike of that, and like we've definitely spoken about it and why we don't like it, and whether Deep Silver or I forget what company owns them now. What if they don't want to take that as criticism? If they want to attack, Volition wants to attack their old fans for not liking this new game that's not even they
Yeah,
chose to not make for their own old fans. That game was made for like people that are like 14 years old in modern day. I'm convinced. Like
yeah, yeah.
it's
That's
really
all it was made for.
it's super Gen Z oriented, and it's like then in my opinion, I thought that they should have made a brand new franchise, not call it Saints Row, because to me
Well,
that's not
we live in
person.
an era where that's apparently not allowed nowadays, where
They're
everything
too
is
scared.
derivative of a franchise. Yeah,
Yeah, they're too scared to do that. But in return, it's like look at what you chose to do. It didn't work out well for you either. So I think that it at least shows more courage to say, you know what, this is different from our old franchise, so we're just going to call this something else, and do our best to make it a good game. And that's what they should do, and that's what they should do with a lot of films too. I feel like a lot of films now they take all these properties that don't like older properties are well known and they make something completely different out of it. To that I say that's not cool. Like these properties are well known for good reason, and when you use these properties, these intellectual properties, we expect something particular from it. If you don't want to adhere to that, make your own thing.
yeah, yeah. Exactly. Like there's one franchise that comes to mind. The big staple on my franchise, Halloween
Yeah.
franchise. They were. I remember when that first reboot sequel was coming out a couple of years ago. They said it was going to be of the same. What was it? The same style of that original film. No, mm-mm, no, no.
Yeah,
It was not anything like that, and I was not very pleased with the film overall. So, and then of course I was shat on for it.
yeah, it's honestly that first reboot, it's one of those things where, like, with this most recent trilogy of Halloween, I have had like a roller coaster of emotions. When like Halloween 2018 first came out, I was really happy about it. I saw it twice in the movie theater. I guess because it's like, oh my god, I get to see like Halloween in a movie theater in my lifetime. Like that was exciting, and I enjoyed it for what it was. And it's
Wait,
like, I
that was your first Halloween film in the theaters?
yep,
I
I've
saw
never
both the
seen it.
Rob Zombie ones in the theater, so I had the experience with Halloween in theaters.
You know what's funny? I saw how the first time I've seen Rob Zombie's Halloween was on a bootleg DVD.
Oh God.
Maybe that's why I hated it so much.
Well, the thing is that now that this new trilogy has come out, I actually, in hindsight, have liked the Rob Zombie ones more.
I agree. It's
I
one of
don't
those
think they're
things.
bad at all.
It's one of those things where I have to deal with some caveats with Rob Zombie's Halloween,
Oh
especially
yeah,
that second one. But like, I could appreciate that they're genuinely scary horror films. Like now, to me, horror is like unintentional comedy. It's that's how like modern horror is, and it's like it sucks. And at least like
it's fast.
Rob Zombie, it's like at least I expect the atmosphere. Like at least I get the atmosphere. At least I get the scares. At least I get like the edge of my seat feeling, and it doesn't come off corny. Whereas a lot of like at least this like modern Halloween trilogy, super duper corny.
Yeah, that's kind of how I felt about it. I really felt that about 2018, and I saw 2018 in the theaters once, and I was literally the only person I felt like that walked out of that theater that night that did not like the movie overall, and I went and saw it again just to make sure that just to make sure that that's how I really felt. And I realized more things I didn't like about it the second time I went and saw it. So
Yeah.
I was just like that one person on the internet that just didn't get 2018. Like I just didn't. The mask looked great. The
Yeah.
music was good. That's it. That's really the only thing
Yeah.
I really find enjoyment. Now, since Kills and Ends, I've warmed to 2018 a little bit, but
Yeah, I feel the same way. Like, except like with 2018, I enjoyed it when I first watched it. Then when it came to DVD, like my mom would love to watch it. So she's like, "Hey, put on the new Halloween." So I'm like, "Okay." And like I had to force myself to watch that movie. And it's like clearly I don't like this movie very much because like even some of the bad Halloween movies, I love revisiting them. When I'm not interested in revisiting a Halloween movie, then it's like, "Okay, why don't I like it?" And when I assess that, it's like okay, like I don't like this movie, and the more that I watch it, the more the cracks show. But I will say, like with 2018, like it is a roller coaster ride for me because at first I liked it, then I was like, it's just kind of boring and it has these issues with it. And then I watch Halloween Kills, and I'm like, well, I hate them both. And then I watch Halloween Ends, and I'm just like, okay, maybe 2018 wasn't that bad, but like that's how I feel. It's like this weird roller coaster ride.
Mirza Boris, that's the bass player in my band, says 2018 Halloween was kind of boring. I'll say it was. Yeah, that's what we were saying. And what as in response to what Cassie just said, like I know you hated Ends. I didn't hate Ends. I thought that it was good. It was a good idea. I just think that they did it. I think they chose to go that route too when it was too late. Essentially, it was too late to go that direction. I thought that, like I said, I thought it was a good idea, just at the wrong time. So I think that's why. I mean, I even said that I enjoyed it while watching it, but I realize it's not a good Halloween movie at all. It's
Yeah.
really fucking not.
It's
It's
like
not one
when
that I'll revisit anytime soon.
yeah, and like honestly, I feel like this trilogy is the most unrevisitable. I don't even know if that's a word, but I can't revisit this trilogy
It is
not
now.
for a very long time. And it, like with
It's a word
ends,
now.
it's with ends, it's one of those Halloween ends. It's one of those things where it's like I like this concept because I love Christine. I think Christine is it's one of my favorite Carpenter films. Like
Yeah,
I have to honestly do like a whole breakdown to really think about what are my favorites, but it's definitely my top 5. I absolutely love Christine. Christine is a movie I can throw on all the
me
time.
too.
But like with
Love it.
and like Halloween Ends is a lot like Christine. So I like the concept, but I don't like it as a Halloween movie. It's just the fact that it has Halloween attached to it. I'm very, very I just hate it. I hate that thought process. And to be honest with you, I at one point I hated Halloween 3 as well. So who knows? Maybe in 20
I
years,
hated it too.
yeah, maybe in 20 years I'll like Halloween Ends. But right now I'm very like
A lot of people felt the same way about Rob Zombie's Halloween too. But my thing is that felt more like a Halloween film than
yeah,
Halloween. As Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, yeah, okay, there's just a lot of differences. But you know what? It was Laurie Strode and it was Michael Myers. It
yeah.
was maybe changed up a little bit, but was that really a problem at that time? I mean, was changing it up, giving Michael a different look, maybe taking some different story angles and making the Michael Laurie, because they were known as brother and sister at that time, making that more interesting, more captivating. Like I don't think Rob Zombie did a bad job with Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 at all. I actually went to the theater. I saw it twice in the theater because the first time I saw it, there was a dickhead that was being really obnoxious in the theater. So we saw it again the same day.
Yeah.
And me and my friend that went and saw it, that probably shouldn't have been there for one, we loved it.
Yeah.
I was like, we thought this was fucking phenomenal. And I think that the only reason people don't like Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 is just because Michael's not wearing the usual coveralls. He's not got his mask on all the time. But I think it's a great film, and I think I would borderline say it's a masterpiece.
I'm
But that's
actually excited for the 4K drop of the Rob Zombie Halloween flicks. I would love to see those movies in 4K.
oh yeah, because the transfer on the Blu-rays or the ones that came out years and years ago are absolutely pitiful.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard
They're
they're pretty bad.
grainy. Yeah, it looks bad.
Like for me, the reason why I naturally rejected Halloween 2, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, is specifically because of the first film. Right from and this is the issue with Rob Zombie, and I didn't really like as like a teenager because when the original like Rob Zombie Halloween dropped, I was like 14. I just had started high school. I was excited for it, the Halloween, Rob Zombie's Halloween. But like I didn't realize what kind of director he was. He's very in your face, over the top,
Mean
and you have to
spirited.
be prepared. You have to be prepared for something like that. I was not prepared for anything along those lines, and that's why like naturally I rejected that first film. That the first scene alone, I
Breakfast.
automatically hated it. Like there was nothing watching that as a 14-year-old that absolutely adored Halloween, the franchise. Like watching that first scene, there was no way I was ever gonna like that film. There was no way I was ever gonna like Rob Zombie. There was no way I was ever gonna like give Halloween 2, an objective like viewing. Like I had to watch it years later. Like I'm 29 now. I haven't watched these films since they came out. Like it took this long for me to say I'm going to, like evaluate these films objectively and give an objective thought on them and see if maybe I do like them because like what I liked when I was 14 versus what I like now has changed. So I think it was fair to give it another shot.
Right.
And I enjoyed them. I thought they were good.
Yeah, they're good. Marissa Boris, Michael Myers versus Leatherface, but it's made by the Sci-Fi Channel. Huh. And if it gets a theatrical release, I mean, you can go sit in an empty theater by yourself and enjoy it. That's
Leatherface has a reach advantage on that front.
yeah,
But if Michael was to stab him, it definitely would hurt the shit out of him. He doesn't have any necessarily like at least from the original and the remake of Texas Chainsaw. I haven't watched any of the other ones, but Leatherface is just a regular dude that's a little off his rocker, from what I
yeah.
gathered.
No, he wants it straight to VHS. I mean, I would really, if that kickstarted a VHS resurgence, that would be really cool.
I mean, I would definitely have to go buy a VHS player. I was considering it for a while, but I have not brought myself to do that yet.
I would.
Yeah.
I
Ah,
actually still have all my Halloween movies on VHS. I own all of them that
ooh,
were
that's pretty
released on
cool.
VHS.
There's definitely a huge nostalgia factor about like VHS. Like I remember getting like my first VHS player. I was like 4. My dad got me Lion King. I watched that movie like almost every day for a year straight. And just like the thought process of I can control the TV now, like and watch what I want
Yeah,
to watch when I want to, like that just blew my mind as a 4-year-old.
yeah, that's. So yeah, I
Very
was growing up.
nostalgic.
I mean, VHSs were kind of they were still around, but DVDs were kind of the new
They
thing.
were
And
getting VHS was getting phased out.
yeah, and I still preferred VHS at the time. And it's weird because with not long after Blu-rays came out, and I didn't give a fuck about Blu-rays. That's just how it was. I just preferred DVDs. Like I didn't really see all that much of a difference. But now that the whole 4K thing is going on, and I have a TV that can support 4K. I'm like, holy fuck!
It's a
Like,
big
wow.
difference. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's the amount of detail. It's like listening to Steven Spielberg discuss like the Jaws 4K release. He was like, "Yeah, this is pretty much like what I saw when I was filming this film. Like now you get to see just about all of it on the 4K." And like just when he was talking about that, I was like, "Damn, like realistically speaking, we haven't seen like everything in terms of detail as what the creators wanted us to see yet." And now we're actually going to experience it. Like that made me like super like excited to like engage in 4K Blu-ray purchasing, especially like a lot of the older titles because that's actual film. And when they do great transfers of like legitimate film and not like digital film, it really does show a big difference. And
yeah.
that's why I'm kind of sad that Disney bought Fox because they did amazing 4K transfers, and Disney doesn't care about
No,
physical release. They don't
Disney
do
cares
it.
about nothing other than paper, green paper.
And they're losing out on a lot of it from what I heard.
Okay, that's cool. I'm cool with that. If they lose money, I'm perfectly fine with that. I have no issue with them losing money.
Yeah, at this point, I hope that they do eventually like see the error of their ways because they said they're not doing any more like physical releases, 4K transfers,
They
and
said that.
yeah,
Well,
yeah,
in case
they
anybody from Disney is watching,
pretty much, right? Like, yeah, it sucks, man. And it's like it's not like their 4K releases were necessarily good to begin with. I don't know if you know this, but the original Star Wars trilogy, so Fox did the 4K transfer for A New Hope, and then Disney did the 4K transfer for Return of the Jedi and
yeah,
Empire Strikes Back. If you watch those like in unison, you'll notice that A New Hope has way more detail in it, is way better done than the other two films. And it's like, okay, I don't really want the 4K of the Disney releases. I just want to get the Fox release because they actually were good and cared
yeah.
about what they were doing.
I mean, I
And
don't own those, but I can imagine that that's probably what it was like.
yeah, yeah, it's I don't know, man. I just I fear for the future. I'm still hoping that we'll one day get an Aliens 4K release, but I
Oh,
wouldn't
that'd be
hold your
special.
breath on that. Oh man, it would be a day one purchase, even if it was a bad 4K transfer, because I can't help myself. Like if you like the Alien, the OG Alien, that 4K release was amazing. Like Fox did a great job with it. The detail looks so clean. It really is. It really makes me happy to see that they took so much care of a film that I really hold like near and dear to me. I love the original Alien, and just the fact that Aliens is not going to get that same treatment that hurts, man. Because Aliens is a really really good film.
Well, speaking of Spielberg films, I picked Saving Private Ryan up on 4K. They just did like this little 4K thing. I picked it up at Walmart and I took it home and watched it, and I was just
Yeah,
holy shit!
yeah,
Like it looks like I think that opening 40, that opening not 45 minutes, that opening 20 minutes of that movie is I think Spielberg's just best work as a director.
yeah.
And just
It
seeing it
definitely
in
is up there.
4K, it's
It's
wow, like
jarring. It's
night and day.
jarring
Yeah,
in many ways. Like it's super brutal, but like just the you could tell that the quality of it is has a major facelift, man. Really
and the
great
fact
4K
that that
release.
just that's that film that came out in 1998, over 20 years later. And as far as movies like that, like there's nothing that compares to that opening scene. Like
Yeah.
even my dad told me he went to go see that movie in theaters, and it was just unlike anything at that time he had ever seen in a movie ever.
Yeah,
And
it's
now that it's
jarring.
here on 4K, it's like holy shit! It's even more. It feels like it felt real as it was. Now it feels like you're actually there, landing on
Yeah.
fucking Omaha Beach. It's like holy shit! Like the
And
4K transfer is unbelievable.
And it's like it's one of those things where to get a movie to properly like as far as it can possibly go, try to recreate that moment, that D-Day moment, that's not an easy thing to do. Like
Nope.
I played, Medal of Honor,
Me
the
too.
D-Day Medal of Honor, and like that it's like you can interact with it. So like it felt like, immersive, and you kind of felt like, even though it's an older title, but like you felt like you're in it, like you really felt that moment because that
Yeah, but you
battle was
didn't.
insane.
You didn't have bodies freaking flying everywhere with limbs flying off. You didn't have just like
Yep.
blood all over the beach. You didn't have that though. That
Yep.
level of immersion.
Yeah, and it's like for a film to be able to do that, because to me personally, I think video games are the greatest form of entertainment because you can directly interact with it. It's like unlike anything else. But for a film to, I think, take it even further than what a video game could do, from what I've experienced, that is a testament to like the creators themselves.
Yeah. Like my hat goes off to anybody that was involved in making that film. Yeah, not just I mean the whole film is great, but that opening 20-25 minutes, it's just I think one of the best directed scenes in the history of cinema. Like it's holy shit. It's so well done.
Your buddy's message kills me. He
Does
said,
that
"Does
mean the
this?"
xenomorph is going to be a Disney princess? I mean, I would not be shocked at in the slightest.
What's crazy is they bought all of Fox's like properties, but they have done nothing with them. They're just dormant.
Yep, and they'll just buy them and just shelve them. Fuck it.
Oh my god.
It's fucking ridiculous.
This is like so a big like issue of contention in the gaming community is the concept of like all of these companies now consolidating in gaming. Like Microsoft is buying Activision, PlayStation bought Bungie, and they bought like a few other smaller developers, and there's like Tencent that's buying up a bunch of developers, and another company as well that bought like Tomb Raider from Square Enix, and some, and basically they're non-Japanese properties. So like there's a massive like consolidation thing where all these big companies are just buying up all the smaller companies to where there's just less companies altogether. And for me, like I hate it. Like I hate the concept of it
Almost like a
because it's like
monopoly almost.
exactly because I
Aren't
look at
those fucking
film.
I thought it's funny how they can do all this. I thought that there were laws against this.
Oh, they just work. They work depending on who greases whose palms. That's really what it boils down to. It's not like it's not like these governments actually care about us by any means. It's just for people who actually think that, I think they're a little bit naive. But like the reason why I'm concerned about it is because you look at the films industry, like Disney just bought up Fox, and there's like four major players in filmmaking now. That's why everything just feels the same, and it just feels really shit.
I notice films nowadays, they all have the same, like films that come out today, they all have this, I don't know how to put it. Like I saw the trailer for this new Children of the Corn movie coming out, and
Oh my god, I'm
did you
scared.
did you see it?
I didn't see it.
It doesn't look like a Children of the Corn movie. It almost feels like an action. The way the trailer's done, it feels like an action comedy, not a
Oh my
horror.
god, it's
From
like
the music
it's.
that's
I feel
playing in the
like
background, yeah,
modern horror films are just a meme, and they just live up to the meme now.
yeah. And people accept it because you get these reviewers that go and see these movies and then they go, "Hey, it was really good. I really liked it. Subscribe to my Patreon channel." It's like just yeah,
Yeah, it's
nothing wrong with having Patreons, but I feel like that's why these motherfuckers do YouTube is for the Patreon shit.
yeah, and they don't have an honest thought on their mind. That's
Like the
really what
Halloween
sucks
people,
about
yeah.
it. Yeah,
Like
like
I
at
remember
least be honest.
the whole cycle of the Halloween trilogy coming out. I don't feel like I think I maybe have encountered a couple reviewers that gave their honest thoughts on it. And the rest was
Yeah.
just like you had pictures of them and the actors and actresses at conventions. It's like, well, of course you're not going to say anything bad about it because you're in cahoots with Blumhouse and shit like that and these
Well,
freaking fanboys.
that and like you have to like these larger YouTubers, they have access to going to the premieres, to going to this and that. In order to secure their access, they're not going to be as harsh as they probably should be when it comes to these films. They may even just all out say, "Yeah, I love this film," even though they hated it. You don't really know because there's no guaranteed access to go see these films when they come out, and they're obviously going to look at their own interests. And in some ways, I understand, but I mean, that doesn't help me when I'm trying to get an honest thought, on a film that I'm interested in.
That's when you just go see the film and make up your own mind at that point. I mean, that's the
Exactly.
way. I mean, that whole cycle of the Blumhouse Halloween trilogy. It was plagued with YouTubers that they had the thumbnail of them going with the Michael Myers mask in the corner of the thumbnail, and then they say, "Hi, subscribe to my Patreon." So Halloween Kills, I really liked it, and it's just there's no honest thoughts. It's I like when I had Everyday Horror on here and we discussed this shit. I mean, he has fucking an arsenal of videos that call
Yeah.
out these types of people, and I mean that's kind of where I got the idea to start giving these people a piece of my mind because I just it was just a really grueling and miserable experience, that whole from 2018 to 2022. That whole
Yeah.
experience of that trilogy was just a terrible experience, and I hate that it was a terrible experience for a lot of us fans of this franchise, but
Yeah. It's
it is what it
like
is.
for me, I guess like the takeaway from watching this trilogy go down is that like I was excited up until I seen the movies for the most part. Like the 2018, like I was excited for it and I enjoyed it for what it was. It didn't really like it was like it was like milk. It was like, hey, when it's fresh, it's great. I enjoyed it, but you let it sit, it goes sour. That's pretty much how 2018 was for me. But like, I would give the Blumhouse the benefit of the doubt. Hey, maybe they can improve on this and that, and we'll see where it goes from there. And then you watch Halloween Kills, and you're just like, no, sadly, no. And then it's like, and then my thought process after Kills was, well, ends can't be worse than kills. And it's like, it was. Yes, Cassie, you're totally wrong. It somehow managed to be worse. And it's just like I'm excited to see like until it comes out sort of deal. It's like at least I found excitement in that, being excited that a property that that's beloved to me, it got revisited for a trilogy. That was cool. Having, I definitely had a decent amount of good discussions about Halloween, particularly with my inner friend circle, and then also other individuals on like YouTube. But then yeah, you do look at the people that, like, for example, that I've always watched when it came to horror, and I've had like a lot of similar opinions on a lot of horror films to like the bigger YouTubers, and then I notice like years later, well, we don't really agree on anything anymore. It's kind of like I haven't changed in terms of how I feel, but it's like you kind of changed, and I'm just like, why is that?
Money, 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 money.
Exactly. It sucks, man, because it's like you feel a part of like a community when you engage with like these YouTubers, and when you felt like, oh man, they kind of get me, and it's not like I'm looking to for validation, but it's cool that you can find people that have, like, if you have a unique opinion, there's also someone else that does have a similar opinion, or like they understand where you're coming from. And it sucks that they kind of sell out.
That's what happened. And I mean, I was honest when I first saw Halloween Kills. When I first came on here and talked about it, that's how I actually praised it, and that's how I felt at the time. Well, what played a huge factor into that is that the whole 20-minute scene at the hospital where it just like nothing happens. I got up out of my seat in the theater and went to the bathroom while that happened. So when I sat
Yeah,
down and watched it on Peacock the next day, I was like, "Holy shit! This is this is terrible. Like this movie is fucking awful."
yeah.
And I was
I'm
like,
in.
"Wow." And I can't go back on what I said. So yeah, I jumped the gun with the review at first. But I eventually months later I started growing more comfortable with how I felt about it. I'm like, "Yeah, you know what? My thoughts have changed. Fuck it. That can happen. That can
No,
happen."
it happens to me all the time. It's one of those things where like some of these films are like milk. Like right when they come out, hey, I actually enjoyed that. It wasn't that bad. But then when you upon rewatch, later on, you're just like, okay, now I'm starting to see the flaws. Like we have that what do they call it? Like that honeymoon phase where like you
Yeah.
can't tell me shit. And then like you take that moment
Been
and
there
then
before.
you're just like, oh damn. Maybe like, I just had those like everything's perfect glasses on, and then you take them off.
Rose
It's
tinted
like,
goggles.
yes, like you remember the meme in the original Spider-Man where he takes off the glasses. I feel like I'm like that with some of
Yeah.
these movies.
He puts the
You find
glasses on and it's fucking blurry. It's like, yeah, I remember that.
yeah,
Yeah,
the
it's
one
like
the
the
one
honeymoon
positive.
phase wore off, though. Yeah.
Exactly. But one positive I could say about Kills, particularly, is that the movie was just an hour and 46 minutes long. One thing that I appreciate about films that aren't like over 2 hours long, at least they didn't go out of my way to completely waste my time. That's my big concern with film now. Like, for example, I don't know if you heard the runtime for the new John Wick movie that's coming out, but it's about almost 3 hours long. It's like, what does this action move? Why does this action movie have to be 3 hours long?
That's
All
going to be
John.
hard for me because I'm such a big fan of the first three John Wick movies. Huge fan of the third one, even though a lot of people don't like it. I really was a huge fan
I
of the
enjoyed
third.
it.
Um, a John Wick movie that's almost 3 hours long? Like, really?
It's
Does
like,
it
how do
need to
you
be?
justify 3 straight hours of like torture porn? I don't understand. Like that, to me, that's crazy. Like I
This better
love
be
the
the
action.
best directed John Wick movie. If you're gonna plop us in the theater for 3 hours, these better be the best action scenes in the franchise.
But the thing is, it's like, how do you up it from there? You know?
Then it's going to start getting ridiculous.
Yeah,
So
and
that
it's like,
first movie was awesome. That first movie, there was a level of like realness to it, and I thought the second one was even better.
yeah,
And I thought the third one was probably about as good as the second one. Where, like, what else are they gonna
it's like for me, it's like the first movie is good. It's solid. Like actually, and the second movie I like a little bit more, and then the third movie to me is about as good as the first one, give or take. So
Yeah,
it's like I think they're all relatively good. I don't go to John Wick for like this amazing story
no.
with like this perfect character development with like no, I don't go there for that. I go there to watch them beat the shit out of each other. How are you going to keep me engrossed in for 3 hours when it comes to like John Wick? Are you guys going to try to do things that you shouldn't be doing with this franchise? That
Trying to make it like deep and stuff. It's not deep. It's John Wick. It's
yeah,
literally popcorn action. That's what we go to these movies for. That's what I mean. I because I'm a male. That's what I'm gonna drag my girlfriend to go see, and she's gonna sit in the theater for 3 hours with me and probably hate me. So, and I'm probably gonna be sleeping on the couch that night as well. So, but I'm going to see John Wick 4. But be 3 hours, like 3 hours,
yeah,
two and a
it's
half, 3
hard.
hours.
That's difficult. I don't think I could do it. It's just like for me, it's like 3 hours. I'm probably gonna have a few drinks. I'm probably gonna be in and out of the bathroom because it's a 3 hour movie. And then when drinks get involved, that's just what happens. Like, how am I gonna really enjoy this movie? My butt's gonna hurt when I'm sitting there for 3 hours. Like you end up having to go walk around. I just like 3 hour movies should just be exclusive to the at home experience.
Yeah.
Unless it's like Martin Scorsese or something, because a Martin Scorsese film comes out like every once in a blue moon. And how many more of
Well,
those are we gonna get?
it's like Peter Jackson's remake of fucking King
King
Kong. I
Kong.
went to the theater to see that shit.
Ooh,
3.5 hours.
ooh.
And it was just like the movie was awful as it is. It was it was garbage. It was boring. The action scenes were cool. The effects were great, but goddamn, the movie was awful.
Did you play
And
the game?
the game was actually good.
I
I had
love
it
the
for the
game.
360 back in the day, and it's actually
Same.
compatible on the Series X too. The game was actually good. The movie was trash.
I
Drew M420, what's up? No,
hey, what's up, Drew?
Drew Wee. Oh, hi,
It's yeah.
welcome.
We just call him Drew. I think that's pretty much what he goes. But he hasn't corrected me yet, so I'm just gonna go with Drew. But let's give it you, Drew. It's good to see you here as always, man. Uh,
And
Definitely
Mers of
good people in the
Boris.
chat.
He says
Um,
at least it wasn't the live action Ghost in the Shell. Oh
I have
fuck
a
yeah.
hot take. I have a hot take. I actually don't mind that movie. I actually like. It's not. It's never gonna be as good as the actual anime. The animated film is like top tier storytelling uh, in terms of the cyberpunk genre. But like when I disconnect, so like Ghost in the Shell, the live action does this thing where it's like, yeah, we're just gonna replace the Eastern philosophy with Western philosophy. And
Yeah,
it's like if I managed to get past that, even though like to me, I don't necessarily say, oh, this is Ghost in the Shell. Like, no. But I enjoyed it for what it was. I thought like if you actually watch it in 4K Blu-ray, beautiful fucking 4K Blu-ray, like super
yeah,
colorful, like your eyes will be like it's like porn, but you're not watching porn.
yeah.
It's visual porn. It's a fun action movie. It's just not Ghost in the Shell, and I can have fun watching it. I don't feel offended by it. I don't know if the creators feel offended by it, but I'll watch that before I watch the live action Cowboy Bebop TV show because that just feels like low quality altogether.
I
Whereas at
heard it
least
was bad. I don't watch Cowboy Bebop. I don't really watch anime or anything like that. But I,
gotcha.
from people that I know that like Cowboy Bebop, they were not they weren't they weren't very thrilled about the final product of the live action Cowboy Bebop. The people that I know, they were not very welcoming, and I
Yeah,
heard it was awful.
you could tell that it's just they had no intention of even doing it justice from the beginning. And even the creator of Cowboy Bebop, Watanabe, he came out and just slammed the shit out of it and just also took a big swing at Hollywood too while he was at it.
Yeah. I mean,
He's a
I
legend,
don't
man.
blame him. I don't blame him.
Have you have you any
I
interest to ever get into anime?
nah, it's just I've tried it. It's just not my thing. Um,
Okay.
my first exposure to anime probably was some on some kid's phone was a hentai video, so that probably wasn't the best
Yeah.
way to be introduced to anime. But I mean, I like some like Dragon Ball Z is okay and Naruto and stuff if that even qualifies as anime. But
No, it's totally anime. That's so like
yeah, that stuff's all
the cool thing about anime is that they don't really like they have their genres, but like in Japan they go by age brackets for anime. So it's like you have like your shonen. It's actually age and gender. So like shonen anime is what Naruto and Dragon Ball fall under, and that's like specifically made for like young boys. And then you have like your Sailor Moons, which is made for like young girls. But then there's like other anime that's specifically made for like teenagers that are either boys or girls. So like there's definitely like anime out there that is really like thought provoking. In some ways, honestly it's more thought provoking than like Hollywood film or just regular film itself, and that I love it. Like
right.
one of an anime creator that I really enjoy. His name was Satoshi Kon, and some of his films that he's made are like Hollywood has stolen scenes from his films. They're really like thought provoking, and just he said like he loves the concept of anime because he's like, yeah, I can control literally every aspect of every scene because it's animation, which is
Yeah.
like it's really awesome thought when you think about it. So I mean,
I mean,
I
I
know that
might
you're
have to
not
check
into
it
it.
out.
Yeah, I mean, like they have some really interesting like horror stuff or like thrillers. Um, this film that I really love called Perfect Blue is a Satoshi Kon film. It is really fucked up. It's really thought provoking. It's a thriller. It's something that like I love, and I think that like really it makes me feel something for it that a lot of film like Hollywood film doesn't. Like I feel nothing for a lot of this film. And when I watch Perfect Blue, like, holy shit. Like, it's crazy. But yeah, it's one of those things where honestly, I know that you're not into it, but there's definitely some things out there that are for you if it just depends on like you
I'll have to
finding
try to
it really.
seek it out. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's cool though.
Viscoliate, I think that's how you pronounce that, says the live action Cowboy Bebop was so disappointing. I had so much hype for it.
Oh man.
That's where I've learned to not get hyped about anything in modern entertainment whatsoever because
Yeah.
about 10 times out of 10 I'm disappointed every single time. So that's why
Yeah.
I'm not so excited about this Friday the 13th TV series or this reboot movie that we're getting because I just know it's gonna there's gonna be something about it that just bogs it down, and I'm not gonna jump on the hype train anymore. Not
Yeah. I avoid it as well. Being hyped for stuff is just I don't want to be disappointed. It's like I would love to be super excited, but at the same time, it's like modern day entertainment just they don't really it's not just about making the best product we can make. It's like we also have to have this demographic involved in that. Like there's so many other different things that a bunch of people in suits and ties are like, yeah, you also have to include all this shit in this film too. That's like it's hard to expect anything from any film anymore.
that's
But
quality. It's like I don't see how actors and actresses even agree to do some of the stuff nowadays. It's like take Halloween Ends for example. Um, the actor that plays Corey, right? If I was called up and approached about the exact same role and read the script, and I was told by whoever Blumhouse on the phone that this is going to be very divisive and that everybody was going to hate it and everybody was going to hate me, that's when I would just hang up the
oh,
phone. And
they
if
would
they
not
call back,
pitch it
I'm
like
not
that.
here. Yeah, no.
They would never outright say that. It's like I remember Jamie Lee Curtis. She did an interview where she was talking about Halloween, doing the original Halloween 2, and she was like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
there's some like the scene where she's in the parking lot and she has to like she's like super quiet, silent, and then eventually like manages to scream." And she's like, "Yeah, I absolutely hated having to do that scene, but that was the director's vision, and I had no control over that vision, so I had to do
Oh,
it the way that he wants."
you're talking about the part where Dr. Loomis and the one chick are both right there. She
Yeah.
can't scream, and as soon as it locks, she's
Yep.
able to scream. Yeah, that's
Yep.
fucking stupid. That's the one thing I
She
hate about
even
that
hates
movie.
it. Yeah, that's like the one thing that really does make that movie like fuck. Like to me this is almost great, but
The
that scene
first
is
half of
so
it is good.
stupid. Yeah.
Yeah.
The buildup is really good. Like, I love the eeriness of it. I love like honestly, I really, really love the individual that plays Michael Myers in that. Because it's
Dick
like
Warlock.
Dick Warlock is so slow, but he just is like completely like dead. Like all of his movements just like feel like he's like a zombie. He's just like a zombie that is like an evil zombie.
And a lot of people shit on him for that, but my thing is that he did just get hit. He did just get hit with fucking 6 bullets and then fucking fell off a balcony. Unless maybe maybe Dr. Loomis only hit him a couple times. Maybe he only hit him the one time, and the fuck with Dr. Loomis, he just acted like yeah, maybe. But he
I
fucking
shot
threw
him
himself off a
6
balcony.
times.
I like to think that Michael, being the son of a bitch that he is, probably only got hit once, and then the rest of the time Dr. Loomis was missing, and he was just fucking with Dr. Loomis. That's what I would.
I mean, he's kinda old. His vision might be kinda bad.
Well, according to Halloween 2, he shot him 7 times, but
Yeah.
that's neither here nor there. Out of a revolver that only holds 6 bullets.
Yeah.
Don't ask me how that happened, but
It that's another thing too,
plus
because
his
when you
reload
do
speed is just unbelievable. But
well, because, like, the gun goes off 7 times in Halloween 2 when they do, like, the recap of Halloween 1, but in Halloween 1, that wasn't the case. It's like, who fucked that up? Like, how do
well, it
you
was the
fuck that.
reshoot. It was the reshoot.
Yes. Yeah, and it's
So,
like, can't you guys count like all these great creators and people that are supposed to be responsible for things? Didn't you think to go back and actually count how many bullets he fired?
yeah, like it really is not that. It's not that complicated to figure out that a revolver that only holds 6 bullets can't shoot 7 bullets. So, don't you think that's something that maybe the people watching over the film before it was released would have thought, huh, that's odd. We should do something about that. No, no, we'll just leave
Well,
it.
John Carpenter did say that he was heavily drinking while writing, and
Even if
he
I was
did
drunk, I would never ever write in a scene where a 6 shot revolver shoots 7 bullets. I don't think if I was so if I don't think I think if I was drunk off my ass, I still wouldn't come up with that.
well, I think also that he may have not admitted to this, but I think maybe he was also a little bit drunk while doing the reshoots and post production work for that film.
I mean, it's very likely.
I mean, you're drunk, you may not hear that extra bullet being fired in the post production is all I'm saying.
My thing is, I don't understand why they reshot it. I don't understand why they didn't just use the ending from the original film. Why did they reshoot? Because you can tell that Michael, like when he's walking, when he's falling off the balcony, you can tell that he's walking up a fucking ramp. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
it's just why it just cheapens it.
It's funny, it's ironic because you literally say it cheapens it, and I feel as though the only reason why they did do that is because, like, Halloween 2 got a far bigger budget than the original Halloween, so they thought that the reshoot with the more money would have, like, a better lasting effect. And clearly it's like, "No, you shoulda just went with what you had because clearly you guys can't even count."
Well, it's like, well, what are we gonna do with this ramp? Well, we have to use it. It's in the budget. Ha, voila.
Yeah, it's just I still love watching Halloween 2 though.
Yeah,
It's like the buildup is ridiculous. It's over the top. I like another movie, a particular a John Carpenter movie that I think the buildup is just too fucking much is was it Prince of Darkness.
Prince of
I just feel like he's a little over the top with that one. And I
I
know that he
enjoy that
didn't.
movie, but I agree with you.
Yeah, I just feel like it was just a little too much. Most of the time, I think that Carpenter nails it. Like I feel like there's just enough suspense, just enough build up to where it really hits. But like Halloween 2, even though he's not the director, but he did have a lot of influence on that film, particularly with like a lot of the extra scenes that they add.
Yeah.
That's one that I do point to. That's like I don't blame him, but like that's the movie he's involved in. Little too much build up, and then Prince of Darkness. I personally think there's just a little too much there, but I do like it because Alice Cooper's in that, and I really like
Yeah.
Alice
Oh, I
Cooper.
love Alice Cooper too. I mean, Halloween 2, you say, like, I know you're saying about the buildup. I find Halloween 2 to be an unintentionally hilarious film. And I think the scene that really makes it is when Ben Tramer is walking out in the middle of the street and the cop car comes fucking just
Yes,
plows into him.
yes,
And then the funniest part about that scene is the cop gets out and says, I didn't see him. Oh my God, I didn't see him. It's all like, so what if he hadn't have been stood there? Like, what was, what
it's
was,
crazy.
what was the play? Like, how fast was he going? Like, he, he's like, oh, I didn't see him. So
Yeah.
you were just going to crash into the van regardless?
It's like you're telling me you didn't see that really bright white mask and blonde hair, bro? Like
Dude, he
really
crashed
that's your
into the
excuse?
van and then said he didn't see him. So regardless if Ben Tramer had been there, he was gonna crash into the van regardless. It's like what the,
And
who
it's like
writes this shit? Like
you know the stories that you hear about, and I'm sure there's at least one that's real. But like those stories you hear about, like, oh, these Navy dudes were walking out of a bar and someone was trying to fuck with them, and that person ended up tripping and hitting their head on the curb and just magically had all of these bruises and broken teeth. The guy just slipped. I feel like that was like the excuse for this. Like, I'm just gonna say that even though I intentionally wanted to run Michael Myers over, who ended up not being Michael Myers, I'm just gonna say that, I totally didn't see it.
but then that just makes you think that it would just make the everybody think that, well, if you didn't see him but you were going fast enough in the first place, you were just gonna your goal was just to crash into the van regardless if anybody was there or not. So that's my problem with that scene. It's funny. It's just like
It
regardless,
is.
the cops crashing into the van and the thing's gonna blow up regardless, which doesn't happen either. Cars don't
And
usually.
Drew here brings up a great point. He says, Loomis either had a second revolver or is the doctor of magic. Yes, he's actually the doctor of time. He manipulated time to go back in time and fire that extra bullet that he wanted to at Michael Myers.
Or I like the whole second revolver thing because it makes me think. Because when he's in the house with Sheriff Brackett, he shows him the revolver and then pulls out a permit and says, "I have a permit for it." What if he didn't have a permit for that second revolver? Maybe he was hiding it.
Okay. Oh yeah, because he did. No, wait, no, he gave in Halloween 2, he gave Laurie his gun.
So then, but then
No,
he
there's
had
no
a gun
second
too,
gun.
didn't he? He had a. Did Doctor Loomis not have another gun?
I don't believe so, if I'm not mistaken.
I could have swore. I could have swore he had a gun. Doctor Loomis, Halloween 2. I gotta look this up
I know, right? Like I'm trying to think. I feel as though it's only one gun, but I could be
because
wrong,
he
even
gives
though I've
Lori the
seen him a
gun
few
and
times.
Lori shoots him directly. No,
In
no.
both
Oh my God,
eyes.
Doctor Loomis does have a gun. They both have a gun.
Hmm. Drew
Yeah,
may
yeah.
be onto something.
Because she has the gun and then Doctor Loomis pulls out the gun and he has no bullets.
Oh yeah, you're
What?
right.
So he had to have had a second revolver that was loaded because he must have forgot to load the other revolver because he
No,
goes to
wait,
shoot Michael
wait.
and then
Did he? Did he not take the? Remember when he walks into the hospital with that sheriff that
yeah,
was like trying to take him away? Did he take that sheriff's gun?
I didn't never see him. I never saw him take it.
Hmm. This just became like very, very interesting. I'm just trying to make myself an excuse to go watch like the first two movies all over again.
I mean, you don't need an excuse to do that. I'm pretty certain Doctor Loomis had two revolvers because
You're
he
not
doesn't.
wrong.
Yeah, and maybe he did have a second revolver. Maybe that explains the seventh shot. He
It's
just
kind
didn't
of
show it to Sheriff Brackett because maybe he didn't have a permit for that specific gun.
now I just feel dumb because I've watched these movies so many times and I didn't really even think about them.
I mean, I might have to go back and rewatch them now.
Literally, we're gonna be paying attention. How many guns does he have? Like, we're gonna watch every scene. Does he pull out a second gun?
I mean, that would explain seventh bolt. I got to do a video about that. Maybe there was a second gun that Dr. Loomis had that explains the seventh shot. But there
That
was no
could
seventh
be.
shot in the first film. That's the thing. That's the huge continuity error here. There was
Yes.
no seven shots in the
There's
first one, but in the
definitely an
second one,
error. We're just trying to
it's
track down
definitely a continuity.
exactly like how bad it
We're
is.
trying to rationalize it. Yeah,
Oh my god. That's funny
it's a
though when
bad.
you really do think about that.
This
I love that
franchise
ending
is
though.
just polluted with continuity errors. Yeah, I do too.
It's
Like the
it's like
mask from part 4 to 5.
yeah, it's one of those things where it's
It's hard.
like I choose not to nitpick. I mean, I have in the past, but then like you don't enjoy it when you nitpick like that. These
Oh, I
films are
can
very
nitpick it.
much they're
Yeah.
imperfect. They're not perfect. Even the original. I love the original Halloween. To me, it is a masterpiece in a certain sense. But it's not perfect. And that's completely
No, there's
fine
little
then.
bugs. Yeah,
Yeah. And
little
like
hiccups here and there.
that's why I don't like for me, it's one of those things where I love the film grain. I love like the noticeable imperfections about film in some instances because it's like it feels like, people actually put this together. Like I hate digital film now because like there'll be like no film grain. It doesn't feel real. There's like a green screen in the back, and almost like with all these Marvel movies, they're like entirely green screen and they never go anywhere to film any of these films. And like to me it just feels like I don't know, robotic. Like they're just going through the motions, like it's manufactured in a factory.
Yeah, it feels like prepackaged manufactured. That's what it feels like to me. I never felt that way about the first wave of Marvel movies, but up to a certain point, I did start to feel like it just
Yeah.
it was losing me, and it was just like the prepackaged manufactured crap that they just shovel out. They still continuously shovel out. Like how many movies are in this big universe now? Like 80.
They've been going at it for like what, 15 years now, it feels like.
Like I remember when comic book movies all just stood on their own, and you didn't have to see the second Thor film to understand what was going on, and whatever fucking comic book movies were just comic book movies, and that's when I think they were in their prime, not the Marvel universe. I just don't like it.
Yeah, it's like now they have to adhere by all these new rules, not just from like the films now, but also from the TV shows. And then the creators behind like these things, they don't do the research of like the 30 other projects that happened previously, and then like a bunch of YouTubers catch all these mistakes, and then they just get called like instantphobe for not liking it. Like She-Hulk, like people pointed out so many like continuity errors with She-Hulk just on the fact that she felt as though she had dealt with way more shit than Bruce did. And it's like, do you not understand what Bruce has been through by this point? How can you say that getting catcalled even compares to that? I mean, getting catcalled can be very annoying, don't get me wrong. But like this dude has had to run away from his own government, live in like, in a place that, where he's kind of alone. He, dealing with the fact that he's separated, that he's dealt with stuff. The person that he loved died. Like, there's so much shit that Bruce
Yeah,
has been through, and it's like, but just because you're a woman, that makes your experience worse by default. Like, that's just unrealistic to me. And
it's ridiculous. That's why I didn't even watch She-Hulk. I didn't watch it. I'm just not
yeah,
interested in it.
yeah,
It
I
looked
can't,
stupid.
I can't be bothered. Can you hear my dogs?
Yes,
Oh my god, hold on.
my dogs are going crazy. My dog is going crazy as well. I think that's the one of the that fuck me. I'm getting my words all jumbled up here. I think that's one of the reasons I enjoyed The Lighthouse so much. It kind of brought that film grain back, really added the character that older films had, and that way, and excuse me, the way that movie was filmed is fascinating. I'm sorry, I can't read it. Yeah, yeah, The Lighthouse I thought was actually good. The
I'm
Lighthouse.
so confused by that movie. I don't think it's a bad movie, but I watched it and I'm just like, what the fuck is
It's weird.
happening? Yes. And like, I think that there was a lot of thought put into the film, so much so that I don't even understand it. Like, I don't really, I have to do more research in order to understand the film.
Right.
So, I mean,
That's how
I
I
will
was with Hereditary at first, and then I finally got it. Finally got
got
it.
you. See, I saw Hereditary and I was kind of like, the ending is getting kind of goofy, but if like people were like, no, you gotta like, you have to understand it. And it's like, okay, but at the same time, I just didn't enjoy it for what it was.
While she was on the ceiling banging her head on the fucking yeah, that was kind of funny. I did laugh at that.
When the cult just appears randomly, I'm like,
And
what's going on?
everybody's naked. Well, the thing is that the cult was orchestrating all of the events, all the deaths and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The cult, that's what the little the how the miniature that the miniatures that the mom builds.
Oh
That's
yeah,
kind
yeah.
of like the symbolism of the cult being on the outside, controlling everything that goes on. It's this
Okay.
big sacrifice
Hmm.
that they're trying to do to put the demon inside the older kid's body. That's
Okay.
the cult orchestrating everything that goes on. That's when you see that little symbol that's on the grandmother's necklace, and you see it pop up in places and it's hidden in places. That lets you know that the cult is everything that's about to happen is orchestrated by the cult. That's when I started figuring out the movie. I saw it in the theater and I was like, I don't understand this at all. And then
Yeah, I
I
didn't get
saw
it
it a
either.
bunch of more times. I'm like, I got to see it a couple more times. And then I started figuring it out. It was
Got
now
you.
when I
Okay.
watch it, everything's in perspective now, and I finally get it. But it took me a minute to really figure it out.
You
You
know,
have to
it's
see.
with those films, and it's like that's what the film is going for. So it's like, I guess it's just my taste that doesn't really gravitate towards that because like all films that are like that, I naturally just end up disliking. And it's
Because it
like
feels like
for
sometimes they're trying to do too much.
yeah, I just feel like dumb until the end. Like that's how I felt about Fight Club. I cannot stand Fight Club. A lot of people absolutely love that film,
Mm.
and it's like, "Hey, you do you." But I just felt like, why is nothing making sense? And then you get to the very end, and it's like, "Oh, okay." But at the same time, I just felt like I watched a bunch of bullshit until the end.
I can understand how somebody would feel that way.
Yeah, and it's like I like to watch films that kind of I can follow it. Like obviously, I don't want it to be spoon fed to me, but I want it to like at least like I don't want it to be like one of these gotcha moments, I guess is the best way to say. Like, yeah, like I'm just completely confused, but then like the ending is the giveaway that makes it all make sense. Like that it's hard for me to get into movies like that. And I'm not saying that they're bad movies. It's just hard for me to really feel
That's
like
where, yeah, but that's where a movie like Hereditary is different because there's clues in prior
yeah,
scenes
you're
that
bringing
tell
it
you,
up. I was totally confused, but you're right. There is a lot of clues to that
yeah,
when you do bring it up.
like like there's a lot of people like they were complaining that they didn't think that the supernatural like demon was real. Well, there's a part where there's a little thing of paint that when she's working on her miniatures that spills over by itself, and you can see the little light in the window signifying that there's a demonic force there controlling shit. That's what people they you have to look for stuff like that in that
Yeah.
movie to really truly get what's
See,
going
that's
on.
pretty slick. That's pretty
Yeah, it
slick.
is
I can
slick.
really that's like something it's like I didn't get it, but like I can appreciate that thought process that they had. It,
It's
like the
like
little things matter.
it's almost like you see something out of the corner of your eye and you don't know if it's significant or not. Well, that's kind of like what watching Hereditary is. You notice something like way off in the distance, something happening, and you think, is that like a little bug? No, that's real, and that actually means something in the film. It's
Mhm.
just that it's way off over here, and you're not. It's the people that aren't paying attention aren't going to notice it, but the people that are
Yeah.
paying attention, they're not gonna, or they are going to notice. That's what I like about that movie. It's just really clever and really, it really got under my skin too. When I really figured out what was going on, it actually genuinely started to terrify me upon the fifth
Yeah.
time I watched it, rather than the first time I watched it.
Oh my gosh, that's you know what it is? Once I see everyone that's like naked, I just start freaking out. Like with the lighthouse, once Willem Dafoe gets naked, I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? And the
Yeah, I
cults and they're naked. Like, what is going on?
like there's a lot of times like that in movies like that where if I was in that situation, removing my clothes would not be at the top of my to-do list.
Oh my
I'm just
god.
saying. I
No,
don't know why their
exactly.
instinct is to always remove any ounce of clothing that they have on. I just don't get it. But yeah, I
I
know what
love
you're
Willem
talking.
Dafoe, but it's like, bro, you're like 70, man.
Yeah,
Like, I appreciate you as an actor. Can I please remember you at your best and not naked?
yeah. It's like it's not like a slasher movie where like there's a sex scene or something like that. I mean, that's one thing. There's a reason why there's no clothes on, but like films like that, like I like The Lighthouse, but that scene, I don't understand why he took his clothes off. I don't get it.
Okay. I have to like actually do research on the lighthouse. Like I do. It's one of those things where it's like there's more to this. I've been told there's more to this, and by people that are reliable. Like I actually trust their judgment. Like there's more to this. You don't get it, and it's like okay, I need to do that research, but I have yet to do it.
Yeah.
It's a well shot film. I can give it that. It's definitely a well shot film. Good
Oh yeah.
acting. The scene where Defoe and Pattinson just have like that fight. That was crazy. That was
Yeah. I
like
remember.
holy shit.
Hey, Maestro Megatron's in the chat. What's up, dude?
What's up? Oh my god,
Love
we've been
this
all
guy.
over the place. It's a good it's a good discussion.
Well, it started out with us bitching over some SJWs, bitching about a video game. Now it's just we've been literally bullshitting for the last hour, talking
Yeah,
whatever.
for sure. But yeah, it's crazy how many things that we've covered from stemming from Hogwarts Legacy. But I know some people might be on the fence about that game, but if you're into like RPGs, if you're into fantasy, or if you're into Harry Potter, or if you're into all three of those combined, give it a shot, man. Give it a shot. If you want to. If you're not
Yeah.
into those things, totally understandable.
All I gotta say is don't let somebody's personal ideology affect your purchasing decision. If you don't feel comfortable purchasing the game because of it, don't purchase the game. If you are somebody that can separate the art from the artist, and buy the game and have fun. Just don't let anybody, whether what doesn't matter what side it's on, affect your purchasing decision.
Exactly. Like,
Don't let us sit here and tell you buy the game. It's really good if you don't feel comfortable with it. Just yeah,
yeah, exactly. Like, I just want people to be able to do what they want to do without feeling like they're going to be attacked. Like there are people, and I obviously won't name them because I think that they're genuinely good individuals, but they've confided in me like, and they're streamers. They confided in me like, I actually really am interested in this game. I would love to stream it, but with like this backlash and they having like LGBTQ plus viewers that are that typically always visit their streams, like they don't feel comfortable playing this game. And it's like it's one of those things where it's like I want to tell you just play it and have fun, but like that's the decision that they have to come to
yeah,
themselves if they want to. I can't force that on them. And in a way, I kind of understand where you're coming from because, but like, there's, I will say there's a lot of individuals who are trans that are playing the game and say it's amazing and how it in a lot of ways, it does cater to them. And it's like, it's hard for me to tell somebody that like, you can't, you know where your heart is as a person. I can't tell you where your heart is as a person. If you have no malice towards anyone, you just want to enjoy the game, enjoy the game. Like, don't hold back. We only have one life to live, man. We have to make the best of it. So if you want to play that game, then play that game. It's not like it really is killing people. It's not killing people as
yeah,
much as people want to pretend that that's the case. The game is not harming anybody. um from what I've heard, the developers themselves for that company, they're rewarded well if their games are a success. I've actually heard that from an ex developer for that was working on the game. He's just like, yeah, they like, when they make good games that sell very well, they get really great bonuses, and that's really nice to hear. Because if you do something great, like you would hope that the creators are properly or at least reasonably rewarded for this hard work, because this is like many years of hard work, and you could tell when you play it.
Now, if I found out otherwise that they weren't being rewarded for the hard work, then that's when I would boycott the game altogether.
Yeah, that's definitely like that's a completely rational response. Like honestly, I don't blame someone for wanting to boycott based on that. But that's a you choice, Like I don't
Yeah.
want to make choices for anybody. You don't want to make choices for anybody. It's
But the
it's cool to
problem
display the facts and let people make their decisions.
But the problem is these people that are going around, they want to make choices for everybody, not just in their purchasing decisions. They want to choose how you and I live our lives. They don't want anybody to, it's like I was saying, or they don't want individuality. They say they want individuality, but what they mean is they want everybody to conform to their cult like mentality and live and believe how they believe. And if anybody believes different, then they're ostracized from the group. They're canceled. They're racist. They're whatever.
You'll try
I,
to find out where they work and try to get them fired. Like
it's happened to
this
me
is what
before.
that's sad. That's really, really unfortunate.
I don't even know what it was that I said to this day. I don't even know what it was that I said that incited that reaction. I said something. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that stuff. Like honestly, man, that's when look at this. This discussion is just we're talking about playing a video game. Imagine like if we set a standard that playing a video game can get you fired from your job. What are we doing? Like I don't know why it's been so difficult for so many people to just come out and say this is irrational. Like this is not a normal response to this given situation.
We say it's irrational, and it is completely. I 100% agree with you. It's irrational, but what I was telling you earlier, these people, to them, this is rational. They're not in the wrong
Yeah.
in their eyes. Nothing they
Yep.
do is wrong. They're the virtue signaling fucking SJWs who can do no wrong whatsoever. Anybody that doesn't think like us is a bad person. It's not
Yeah.
wrong in their eyes.
Well, breaking down like the thought process that I think, is coming from them is that they think that they're doing the right thing. And in doing so, any level of action they have to take in order for the right thing to happen is permissible given the situation. And if that means, attacking people online, if it means, it's sometimes doxing them online, um, reporting them, getting them fired from their jobs, like this is all like okay for the cause. And it's like this is not like how are we ever going to come together when you're willing to go to these lengths? And I brought up the reality that the response, like the activist response to this video game being released, has done far more damage to trans activists or actual transgender individuals themselves, way more damage to them than anything J.K. Rowling has said from what I've seen.
Yeah. And what I think the damage it's doing to the like the LGBT trans, whatever it is, what I notice that this is doing is it's causing people to not want to ally with them.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of people that never even talk about like this stuff, like relatively open to individuals that are trans. It's like all the people are like, "Hey, you do you. That's cool." They even support trans rights, and call
Me
themselves
being one of those
allies.
people. Yeah.
Yeah, like even some people go as far to even call themselves allies. Like they're just like this is not cool. Like, and this is like regular average individuals that don't really get involved in politics or like the social politics of modern day. Like they tend to stay away from that. I'm noticing that yeah, even they're calling this out as like being complete total BS. And
When I and when I
that's not good for the movement.
Yeah, and when I say I support gays, trans, I don't mean that I'm on Facebook constantly fucking screaming at people. And what I mean is that when I say I support gays and trans is that if that's how you want to live your life, cool.
Yeah.
I'm not like that personally. I'm a straight male, and I know that's the same as being a Nazi nowadays, but a straight white male or a straight white female, or but um, I like I said, if I have gay friends that are gay, I support them.
Yeah.
I don't need to go post on Facebook. Well, if you don't feel this way, you're stupid. You're racist. I just don't. I don't feel the need. I don't feel like that mentality is conducive to anything. And in fact, I think it's hurting the community, if anything.
Yeah, it definitely does because naturally, like, if you're a bug and you constantly fly on this individual's face, and you keep being a pest. Yeah, exactly. They're gonna do one of these. And that's just kind of how these individuals come up. Like they're pestering just people just trying to live their lives. And like for me, I don't really call myself like an ally or anything like that. I just completely endorse the basic concept of you live your life the way that you want to, as long as
Well,
it
we're both
doesn't
we're both
infringe.
libertarians, so yeah,
Exactly, as long as it does not infringe on me. That's like my literal basic concept of
exactly.
that. That's what pretty much everything falls into. It doesn't matter what group you're involved in. It all falls into that basic principle that I hold uh, thoroughly. Like I'm very principled libertarian on that front. So like
Me
just
too.
whatever you want to do, it's cool. Just don't force me to, like just don't impose your will on me. I don't understand why that's so difficult. There's just unfortunately like authoritarianism I feel like is becoming a very common practice,
Any
and
kind of
that's
authoritarianism, whether it be right, left, authoritarianism, to me is
I
not
completely
acceptable.
oppose all of it from any angle. I I fundamentally can't support any of it because it's just not like me as a person. It's the literal opposite of how I am as an individual. Like libertarianism is the literal opposite of authoritarianism. I cannot support any of it. That's
Yeah,
just how it works.
it's like I'm not going to support people that want to riot out in the streets over something. Just like I'm not going to support the people that are flying the swastikas and stuff like that. I'm not going to support either because
Yeah.
I don't stand for either of that. Any of that. I don't stand for either of those ideologies.
Yep.
I'm a
Totally
straight
agree.
I'm a straight white male as well, and if people want to live as gay, lesbian, trans, more power to them. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's what we're saying. It's live and let live.
Yeah, it's like it's one of those things where it's like I was always like kind of ostracized because I was always different. Like I always like as far back as I can remember, I always wanted to wear like things that were like guys' clothes. Like I liked male action figures. Like that's just how I always was. And it's like I was ostracized for that. I was made fun of for that. Like I understand what it's like to have to choose to be the person that you are despite what what may come with that. I had to grow to accept that. And it is what it is. Like I don't hold any ill will to people that made fun of me when I was in, growing up in grade school. It's whatever. Um, but like I do want to live in a world where people can just be who they are, and that's not problematic in any way. Like just
Yeah,
do
that
you, and don't feel as though that it's a bad thing to be the person that you are.
and it's like with me, it's funny you say that because like nowadays I've always kind of had trouble being who I am, and I will admit as a straight white male, I do have some feminine qualities. Okay, and I know that might be funny to hear and whatnot, but like up until recently, I was just like somebody that was just overly masculine all the time, and I've always kind of hid my feminine qualities from everybody. And I'm actually growing more comfortable, like the long hair for example. I wanted long hair forever, but I was told, oh, that's very feminine. Well, I don't give a fuck if it's considered feminine and that I'm a male and I shouldn't have long hair. I want long hair. That's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, I mean,
Case
hell,
closed.
you have nice hair. Why not let it grow
Yeah,
out? Like,
yeah.
why not? It's really, and it's like, how many dudes, especially like rock stars, especially that had like really long hair, like To be in
That's
modern
fine.
day and think that that's like a feminine quality is kind of weird to me.
Well, it's yeah. I mean, you'd think that
Depends on
people would get
where
with the
you live.
times.
Yeah,
Well, I live down
unfortunately,
here in Podunk Bible Belt Baptist town here, so
yeah.
everybody still goes to church on Sundays, and I don't. I'm too busy listening to rock and having long hair, so I'm a secular type of person. So,
You
I mean,
immediately stand out from the crowd. It just is what it is. Even though you don't like, at least from what I know of you, you don't really do anything that's out of the ordinary. Like, you have your own things that you're which is cool. Like, we can identify that, but you don't seem like to be a strange individual.
a lot of people, when you get to know me in person, I can be a very weird individual, but
Yeah. I mean, but you have to also take into account I was born and raised in New York, so there's like definitely a lot of like I've seen a lot of strange shit. I've walked down like the streets of Manhattan and have encountered everything. Like I didn't live in Manhattan, but you occasionally go to Manhattan if you want to go to like particular places um or like museums, like there's a lot of interesting shit that goes down in Manhattan. But if you just go there and just walk across the street, just go down any random street in Manhattan, you will see some of the most wild shit, from like just the way people dress to like some dude screaming about how his great grandfather, he's the ancestor, like his ancestry is like he's like Abraham Lincoln's great grandson or some shit like that, and literally scream like I very, it's very like ingrained in my brain that day that I went to New York, and actually this dude was screaming with these papers. Here's the proof. It's like you think that that would be like in a movie, and it's not real. It's real. This is how some of these
I mean,
people
that
are.
stuff happens where I live. I had a guy. I was leaving work one day out in the parking lot. And this dude's just like he has like this really angry look on his face, and he's looking at everybody. I believe in Jesus Christ. I believe in Jesus fucking Christ. And he's like hitting people's cars and shit. And I'm like, you know, this is not exactly what I wanted when I got out of a fucking 8 hour shift. I wanted to just go home. Here I am in the parking lot. He's come over to me. I'm in a confrontation. I'm about to end up slapping the shit out of him. I just want to go home. It's the same thing here too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't matter where you go. There's just idiots and crazy people everywhere.
It's people that are just so they just want to dig their boots in so much. It's just like, can we just find a happy medium where
Nope.
you can love Jesus Christ, but you can also
Nope.
accept that some people don't really care? Or like
Well, it's
even like the opposite side. It's like can't you just kind of come to the middle and you can do what you want to do, but also accept that not everyone's going to be just like you?
yeah. I mean, I wish we lived in a world where that was possible. And I mean, there was always the accusations because of the music I like, the clothes I wear, that I was a devil worshiper. And I actually have got people to think that I actually am one now, because it's just like, all right, well, you know what? You're not going to believe me if I tell you I'm not one, so I'm just going to go ahead and tell you that I am one and see how you react. And it's always satisfying to see the
Yeah, it's
reactions.
it's like if that's what you fear the most, eventually that one person is gonna pick up on it and just go with it because they know that that's the one thing that really gets under your skin. Like that's just how I am as a person too. Like if I know that if I don't like you because of like these particular things about you, and or if you most of the time it's kind of one of those things where like if you're just an asshole to me, I'm like, I'll just listen to you, how you are as a person, and get to know you if I have to be around you, obviously. And once I catch on to something that clearly gets under your skin, I'm going to use that to my advantage because I don't like you. You clearly don't like me. So I'm just gonna fuck with you and
Yeah.
just let you talk yourself dry until I have all the things that I need in regards to how to get under your skin. And I'm just gonna go with it because I don't like you anyway. And you're a dick face. So that's just how I am, and you're never gonna like me. So why am I going to try and be nice? I just want to
It's no,
sever
there's
like
no point.
ties.
Yeah.
Exactly.
If it's somebody I'm forced to be around, like really, there's like with me, I'm somebody that if it's somebody I have to be around, not by choice, there's only so much of these type of people that I can. I think there's some people I just hate that I just cannot be around. And every time I have to be around these specific type of people, it usually ends up going south because I usually end up getting pissed off. But there's some people that I don't like, but I can tolerate them to a certain extent. And then there's people that I really like. There's not really like some people that I'm like okay with, like, it's either I like you or I don't. And Drewy says, I remember being bullied as a kid because I'm autistic. Me too. Asperger's syndrome. Back then, I hated being autistic, but as I got older, I learned to love myself and proud of being autistic. Good, good.
Yeah, definitely. Like honestly, the biggest part as a human being, in my opinion, is learning to just accept yourself as you are. As you're not going to be able to change. You could change the way your hair looks. You can change certain features. You can go out and get a sex change. You can change your face. You could change your nose. But like, if you don't accept yourself as an individual, I don't like to me, I feel like that's the graduation into adulthood. Like we all have to learn that. There's always going to be something about us that bothers us. I used to like when I was in like middle school, like seventh and eighth grade. Like I tried to wear like the pink clothes. I tried to do all these things, but it made me more. It made me super miserable. Like I couldn't do it. Like I couldn't like wear the clothes that is deemed acceptable for a woman to wear because I just didn't feel natural to me. I felt very uncomfortable. And it's like I had to like when I got into high school, I started to just say I don't care anymore. I'm not like who am I trying to please? I'm just making myself more miserable in the process. Like you just learn to accept yourself as you are and just go with it because that's all you can do. And a lot of people fight against that in every way, shape, or form. And it's like don't fight it. I mean, you're gonna nobody's perfect. There's no individual. You may think that there's someone that's perfect out there, but they have their insecurities too. So,
That's
no
how
one's
I
perfect.
was. Yeah, it's like, okay, it's like, for example, when I was in school, like I played sports and shit like that. And I mean, I love sports, don't get me wrong, but I didn't fit in with the jockey type people because I wore Metallica shirts to school. I didn't wear fucking Titans and stuff like Tennessee Titans stuff to school. And I mean, like you had like the sporty spice type of people that I didn't fit in with them because of how I looked, but I was good at sports. So I kind of got along with them and I played sports with them and they liked having me as a teammate, but they just didn't like me as a person. And it's like, I don't think that's fair to me because of my lifestyle, but whatever. I mean,
Yeah, it's
I,
one of those things where you don't necessarily have to like be best friends, but like at least respect each other. Like give people the common courtesy. At least try to do the right thing. Be the person that's like I'm going to sit next to this individual at lunch that no one would bothers to sit next to. Like I remember doing that, and I wasn't even popular. Like I actually like I was like, well, I'm sitting alone, and I see this person sitting alone. It doesn't look like they're having a good time. And you know what? That was like some of the most awkward moments because it's like I was really really bad um at social interaction in general. But like the point is that I tried, and we would talk a little bit and given we may not be like friends or anything, but like honestly, just the fact that you tried might have, been the most interesting thing of that day for that individual. Even for me, it was like I got to talk to someone new today. It's whatever. I noticed that a lot of people, and I'm like honestly in this group, like everyone's afraid to put themselves out there now. Like we're so
yeah,
afraid of doing that. And I feel like social media just makes that even worse. And it sucks because we're losing a lot of our social skills. And it's not a good thing, so you don't necessarily have to make yourself feel uncomfortable all the time, but put yourself out there. Why not give it a try? You never
that's what
know, like
yeah.
you don't
That's
know
kind of
until you
what my
try.
channel. That's like what my channel is about. Like, there's a lot of channels. They have like one set thing that they make videos on. My channel, it's just me being me on my channel.
Yep,
I'm
same.
myself. If I feel like making a video about something, if I wanted to fucking do a 20-minute video on vacuum cleaners, I'm gonna do one. I'm not going to, but I'm just saying, like, it's just, it's like, I've had people that comment, they say, you don't have like a set thing that in it. They're like, I don't like how your videos are all scattered and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, I'm not really here to please anybody. The videos I make for myself, that I
Yeah.
make them for me. And if people want to watch them and enjoy them, that's why they're there. And that's a great thing. But I make them for me because I have a wide array of things I like. And I don't want to just relegate myself to just like one thing. And that's people are getting upset with me about that. And I'm like, you can get upset with me all you want about it, but you're just. I think what they're doing is they're trying to, I guess, they don't like when somebody actually they're so insecure about themselves that they don't like when somebody actually comes up shows up on their YouTube news feed trying to be themselves. That's all I do. I just try to be myself, talk about things I like. That's really what
Yeah,
this channel is. It started out as a horror themed YouTube channel, but I'm like, that's when I was called a different name back then, but I rebranded my channel and it's just me being me. I'm showcasing my band. I'm talking about other stuff I like besides just horror movies. Like I like other things too, and I want to be. I'm comfortable coming on here and talking about it. So
yeah,
I don't really
definitely.
care what some troll on a fucking masked account has to say about me. I really don't care. It's just me being me. If you like it, if you vibe with me, that's great. That's all
Yep.
I really. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like realistically speaking, in the grand scheme of things, none of us are going to be PewDiePie. That's
No.
never going to happen. So it's either you can make the videos that you want to make and talk about the things that you want to do, or you can make a bunch of shit that doesn't mean anything to you in hopes of like being
Getting
like this
views.
in this enormous YouTuber one day that like is up there at PewDiePie. Like that's an unrealistic expectation. Like for me, I would like to, and even though I think like some of my early videos are so bad
They're
because like
not.
to me they're super corny, but like I can look back at them and be like, yeah, they're super corny, but like it's just what I wanted to do, and that's cool. Like my channel is a representation of me. Like I would like ideally for people that actually like me for who I am to come to my channel and watch my videos. And you don't like me, that's cool. I mean, it's whatever. I don't care. Go find someone else that you like, and that's completely fine. I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't make content expecting everybody to like what I'm up to. It just comes with the territory of like me just making this for me.
If you go back and watch some of my older videos, you can definitely tell I was trying to be somebody that I wasn't. That's when I was trying to be just like all the big fucking reviewers, like there's like this big circle on Facebook of these like YouTube reviewers and stuff like that. And I was just trying to be like them, and then it got to a point when I was making videos and I was just like, I don't enjoy this. Like it's
Yeah.
either I gotta quit doing YouTube or I gotta change some things up. And I ended up changing some things up, and like I've had little hiatuses and stuff like that, but I always come back.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just
No,
sometimes where
definitely.
I'm just busy all the time and I don't have to make videos. I mean, this isn't my job, but I get on here and fuck with everybody when I can. Um,
Yep.
that's just, I
Definitely.
mean, and I enjoy it now that I can actually be me. And I don't have any shame in it. I don't really care if somebody likes something I say or they don't like something I say or they don't like my video. Like I've recently I had a comment that said that they didn't like my hottest Friday the 13th chicks video because I didn't show the pictures of the women, and it's like, well, I mean, I'm sorry that you feel that way. I mean, I guess it was too much to just click off the video and move on, but I'm sorry that you felt the need to leave a comment like that.
Oh
Must
my
have just
gosh.
been too much.
It's one
Don't
of
you
those
think it would
things
have been
where
less effort? But it's whatever.
yeah, it's like one of those things where like no matter what you do, someone will complain about something anyway.
And that's when I
It
go, okay.
exactly. Uh, all you could do is the best of what you can do at the current time. Like, I do try. Like, I make my videos to where I feel happy with them, and then I release them. Like, I'm not good at editing. I'm not good at any of this stuff. Like, I've been doing YouTube since September of what 2019. No, 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 no. That's totally false. I was thinking we're in 2021. Holy shit.
Oh no, we're past that.
Where I think it started when we were in 2021, like September of
When the
2021.
that's when I came across you with a Halloween Kills review, and then I noticed you had like a couple other videos before,
Yeah.
and yeah, I mean, I didn't like you said you think those videos are bad. I didn't think they were bad, but
Like,
you've definitely evolved as a YouTuber since then.
yeah, like there's definitely I moved my room around to literally have a space to like have my, my little, I guess, creators area, whatever. But like, I've gotten a webcam. Like I was making videos entirely from my cell phone. There's,
I
you're
I
pigeonholed.
still do.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like you do whatever you have to do in order to express yourself the way that you want to. And like, slowly, I got like this little thing here, I got that little thing there. Things slowly do get better. And it's even if you want to do that. If you don't want to do that, hey, I don't give like if you want to fucking just make videos from your phone for your entire like lifetime, it's cool because you like everyone knows you for that. Like that's completely fine. Like it's not like I like people will like you as a person, and they'll come here because they like you as a person. That's
Yeah,
I think that's more meaningful than, oh, I'm gonna make like this perfect video that has all this amazing editing and feels like it was made by a Hollywood creator or something like that. And people go there for that level of quality. But it's like, say if you just made a video that's like, I'm gonna have a heart to heart conversation with this community. They'll be like, well, where's all this fancy editing that you always have? And it's like, but this is how I am as a person. You don't like me for this? Those people don't really stay around. So
yeah. They
what's the point of
just want
pleasing
the
them?
high end fucking. And I'm just not about that on my channel. I'm not slamming people that are like that. That's not how I like to do my videos. I like to take a more raw approach to videos. Every
Yeah.
once in a while I'll throw some editing in there, but I don't soak my videos in high end editing. Like it's not like I said, nothing against it. It's just it's not me being lazy either. I just like the raw approach to my videos.
Yeah,
That's
like
just how I am.
a lot of my favorite YouTubers, like I don't know if you know Solid Rev, he's a gaming YouTuber. He's been making videos forever. Bithead 1000, Happy Console Gamer. Like these are all individuals that like Bithead 1000 makes videos from his fucking shed. It's like this is how they are as a person. And they've displayed that for many years. And I've been a huge fan of them because I know what they look like. I know what they're into, and I know what they're into collecting. I know like they have a very intimate relationship with their community because like they don't hide behind, and if you hide behind an avatar, that's completely fine, especially in modern day where if you play a video game, you can be canceled and you can get fired from your job. I don't blame people for hiding themselves behind an avatar. Yeah, like I totally get it, but like the ones that I really enjoy watching tend to be just guys or even females that just turn on the camera and talk at the camera and then upload the video. And it's really just simplistic, but it's just they know that people go there to see what they're up to. And they're just like, well, I'm just gonna cut out all the extra shit and just give them that.
Yeah,
And I never really stopped that, like doing that. Like for me, all of it's just like, well, I like that direct connection, being on camera because that's what people are, they come here for me as the person. So I give the viewers that, and that's how I get my point across, in the best way that feels natural. I think that's the best part. It just feels natural. And it's like,
yeah.
bro, I don't think I have like the prettiest face by any means. I don't even think I have a pretty face. I'm just a regular fucking person that just
Well,
talks
I
about
don't
things
want to
that I like.
sound weird, but like I'm not trying to be weird, but you're not ugly. That's
I appreciate that. That's very kind of you. I also do not think that you are ugly by any means. But like I don't think that I'm like a lot of people like to think that they're hot shit. I don't think that I'm hot shit. I think that I'm an absolute dork. I think that the things that I'm into are dorky, but I love them for what it is. And I love being around other people that like the things that I like, and that we can
yeah,
have awesome conversations about Halloween or video games that I'm into, or even things that people recommend that they've always watched my content. They're like, "Have you tried this?" And I'll be like, no, I actually haven't. You're like, I really think based upon like the things that you talk about, you might actually like this, and I end up going giving it a go. This I think that's the great thing about
I
like
notice a lot of that in your
engaging.
comment section, and that's like where our comment sections are very different because you
Yeah.
usually get comments that are very like they recommend this or they are very praiseworthy, whereas I
Yeah.
mean,
That's
you
rough,
can go
bro.
through my community file all you want and see exactly the type of stuff I'm talking
I
about.
do I do read some of the comments. I'm like, what is going on here?
But what I tried to do with my channel is that like when I'm talking about like past like the first like 10, 11 videos I made and I rebranded my channel, I set my channel up to where I have people that like my video, like different variety of videos. They look for that. So like I get a group of people that like to show up for my Halloween videos. If I make a video on something else, I have a group of people that show up for those. And I've made it to where I have a wide audience that like I've 310 people,
Yep.
but those 310 people, they watch my videos regardless of what I put up. So I had a plan from the beginning. Um,
Yep. That's what's up. Like me, like honestly, I sub to your channel because you like to talk about horror stuff. But I also
yeah,
watch like your videos on your collecting of like music, and you listen to a lot of music that honestly I don't really know much about. But it's interesting to see what you're
it's
up
just
to,
easy
what
to
you're
vibe with. Yeah,
collecting. Yeah, like honestly, like people that I think are genuinely cool, or like we have something in common. Like I would just want to see what they're up to, what they're collecting, or like the videos that you post with your band. I'll never be in a band. I don't have to play an instrument. I'm retarded when it comes to that stuff. Like it's really awesome that you guys actually are, have this talent and that you're using it and you made a band together. And I
we're
don't
getting ready to
understand it.
record too, which is cool.
That's awesome, definitely, and, like, that's cool. I tune into those videos too. I make sure to give you a like because I wanna see, like, you prosper in any way that I can possibly help, and it's interesting to see what you're up to, and
Yeah.
I think it's really cool, like, your band sounds pretty damn dope, and honestly, that's really cool. I can tell that, like, you're a happy person when you're involved in that, and I honestly, if I care about someone, I wanna see them be happy, and you look
If it
like you're
wasn't,
happy doing your thing.
I'm gonna tell you, and this is a personal thing. If it wasn't for that band, I wouldn't be sat here on this stream right now.
Mm,
Like that
and
saved my life. It saved my fucking
yeah,
life.
and honestly, that's a great thing. It's like for me, I just gifted someone something for Valentine's Day, and it wasn't because like I'm into them. No, like I know that
It's just a nice
they're
gesture.
exactly like I know that it was gonna brighten their day when they're not having the best of time. So like I'm just like, hey, this is to show that I appreciate you and like you're an awesome person. And because it's like for me, like what else would I put that money toward? Like to me, money is like it's just a tool to get the things that are necessary. And to me, I think it's necessary that this person that I value is happy. And throwing that money away to put a smile on their face, to brighten their mood, like to me, that's priceless.
Yeah,
And anything to see people that I think are awesome, that I like, that are genuinely, I think, good people, be happy. That's really what's fucking awesome about everything in general. Like that's something I appreciate. I just want to see people around me happy. It's so
exactly.
simple, right? But like some people they have a hard time finding it.
It's just the thing is with finding happiness is that you're gonna go through experiences in life that are, well, less than ideal. Um, you're going to go through stuff like that, but it's how you handle those type and how you learn from those types of less than desirable experiences is that's kind of how I ended up finding my happiness is I had to have all these really bad experiences to know who I need to cut out of my life, who I need to welcome into my life, what I need to start doing to take better care of myself. But now I'm actually at a state where I'm actually happy. I had to make a big change, big changes in my life, and I'm actually better for it. That's how
Definitely.
I found my happiness.
And like realistically, no one's life is perfect. Like we all come across those points where it's like, okay, like I liked this person, but they're not good for me in my life. And sometimes you have to just sever those ties. You're gonna come across things that are difficult. Everyone does. I mean, it varies from person to person or how bad those obstacles are. But like we have to adjust. Like life is about learning how to adjust to things because nothing. It's not like like a puzzle that every piece is gonna fit properly. No, like you're gonna have to change the shape of those pieces, and you're gonna have to learn to live with things that aren't necessarily ideal. But like we go on and things do get better. Like that's I guess the thing that's to express things do get better because we find other things to that are important. And because life is forever evolving. And we don't know what's gonna happen. Like there's gonna be bad things to happen, there's gonna be good things to happen. And we just gotta stick through it and make the best of what we have because we only have one life, man. That's really what's important. Like, make the best of it.
And you never know when your last day is going to be either. Like
Yep.
I could literally pull out of my driveway tomorrow and somebody come fucking plow right into me, and then
You
that's
never
that's
know.
it. But the thing is, if that were to happen, because of how good the last month and a half of my life has been, I'd be happy.
Yeah,
God forbid
exactly,
that
man.
that happened, but
Of
just
course,
like
don't want that.
um no, I just like I'm just saying it could happen, but
Yeah, honestly, tomorrow's guaranteed to no one. So do what makes you happy. If it's like Drew says, he doesn't do any editing to his videos, but he wants to make the videos. Bro,
just then
go
make
for
them.
it. Do
In
your
fact,
thing, man.
I'm gonna have to check out his channel. I don't know what he does, but
No,
I'm
I've
still
watched
gonna.
some of Drew's vids. He talked about Hogwarts Legacy, and it's one of those things where it's like, just put yourself out there. That's like for me, I'm happy like expressing myself, giving my personal thoughts, even getting feedback. Like honestly, people criticize me. It's one of those things where as long as it's like genuine criticism, it's not like out of malice. Like they're not gonna tell me, oh, like you look handsome today, and it's like they know I'm a girl, but they'll say that. It's just like okay, like you're a clown, whatever. But like people that are just like, hey, maybe if did this and it'll be better. Like if it's like genuine criticism, like that's completely fine. I know it's not like I know what the intention is, and if it's not bad, that's completely fine. Um, just do you, man. Just put yourself out there. A lot of people are afraid to put themselves out there. And given, in some ways I don't blame them, but like honestly, just leaving your mark in the world no matter how small it is, as long as you're happy with that mark. I mean, who are we to say anything anyway? Like a cat is happy taking a piss to mark its territory. That's what makes them happy. Like
Is that
so,
what Ziggy's doing right now?
no, he's not. Thankfully, he loves his litter box. That's his territory, and he can have all of that.
'Cause my mom's cat likes to piss and shit next to his litter box, but
Oh man, that's rough.
yeah, definitely just get your like. I encourage anybody to get themselves out there. I mean, you're gonna have people that are gonna try to drag you down, but you're gonna have people that are gonna stick by your side regardless. And when I started this YouTube channel, I got accused of being a fucking narcissist for fucking making videos, and oh, sorry, I was reading this comment. Yeah, I got accused of being fucking narcissistic for making the videos that I make, and I actually quit because I actually started to believe that I was truly a narcissist. I was like, I'm not a narcissist though. I'm just making videos. There's
Yeah,
nothing
I mean,
narcissistic about that.
it's so important to be like self-aware. Like I'm constantly like I even question myself sometimes because it's like everyone feels this way, but I feel like it's the total opposite. I'm like I feel like everyone feels this way, and I just feel the opposite way. So I'm just like, am I wrong? Like, and then I try to think from their perspective. I'm like, this just their thought process just doesn't sound rational to me. So I feel as though like I can't really change like how I feel about certain things. A lot of people aren't self aware at all. They just go through life feeling no matter what that they're always right, and they never assess their thought process. And it's like do what you want to do, what makes you happy, but also just be self aware of what you're doing. Like try to take into account what you're doing, and try to just I just stress, don't be malicious, or just like, or if you are malicious, at least do it in a constructive way. Like I won't say that I'm like super nice. Like sometimes like I have Reddit videos where I'm just like straight up. But like I feel like, sometimes you have to be stern in order to tell people you can't step on me. Like that's not going to happen. Like that's like it it comes with like learning, like just like being like, figuring out what's right, what's wrong. There's been times where I've been wrong. And I try to accept those. Like I've been on Twitter. I said something stupid on Twitter like the other day. Like someone showed a picture of like them smashing the collector's edition of Hogwarts Legacy, and someone pointed out, and I'm just like, "Wow, you hate J.K. Rowling this much?" And someone pointed out to me, like, "Hey, this individual actually smashes everything. Like that's like I guess their YouTube channel."
They
And I'm
smash
just like,
everything.
"Yeah." So I'm like, "Okay, like I made a mistake. I concede that. Yeah, I misjudged that. I didn't really know." It's okay. It's okay
But
to
I
admit
mean, you
that you're
would have
wrong.
because of but that, I wouldn't blame you for that because of all the drama that's going on. I would have just assumed that as well.
Exactly. Like it was an honest mistake, and I admit that I made a mistake. And move on. It's whatever, man. We all make mistakes. It's okay.
Well, it's like for example, like I know somebody that accused somebody, and he was rightfully being accused of being a pedophile and stuff like that. But due to complications with Facebook and yada yada yada, and the age stuff and whatnot, apparently he was actually younger, and he was somebody that made a Facebook account that when you're young at a certain age, you got to put that you're older. We all did it. We all did it. We put
Yep.
that we were older. It turns out they were actually the same age, and we kind of admitted. I kind of had a hand in this as well. I kind of admitted that we kind of jumped the gun a little bit and started all that shit. And the dude was cool about it. He's like, I would have done the same thing too. And it's like, yeah, I mean, we all make mistakes.
Yeah.
It's just
It's important to assess that. Yeah, I messed up, and
we just thought what we were doing was the right thing.
yeah,
But
yeah,
the problem is we
definitely.
didn't have all the information.
hmm It happens. Like we're human beings are absolutely imperfect, so it's just like at least be self aware that you're imperfect, I'm imperfect, we're all imperfect, and that we're gonna make mistakes, and it's okay to admit to them.
I mean, I've got a laundry list of mistakes that I've made, like a laundry list. But there's also times where I feel like people have wronged me, and then I don't ever get an apology. I don't like,
Yep.
regardless if I'm in the right, I'm still wrong. Like it was getting to a point like that back like last fall, for example. Not back last, yeah, back like all the way through last fall to the start of this year. I'll admit there was a lot of situations here on YouTube where I was in the wrong, and it was mainly because everything in my personal life was just going to shit, and I was around the wrong people, people that I should never have gotten involved with in the first place. And I was blowing up on people in my comment section just because I was just getting angrier and angrier, and that's when I had to step away and
Yep.
just think about like my mental health. Like my mental health was just at an all time low, and ever
Yeah.
since I made the adjustments in my life, I've been doing nothing but trying to better myself essentially. And I've since
Excellent.
apologized to people that I've gone off on in the comments. But at the same time, I think you really shouldn't have been leaving stupid comments in the first place. But didn't
Yeah.
still didn't rationalize me just completely blowing up. Like
Yeah, but see, you're not
I've
happy with how you handled that situation. And
yeah,
it happens. Like I look back and I'm like, could have handled that better. Even if necessarily the other person isn't necessarily right either. But like we have to conduct ourselves in a way that we can at least be happy with in the future, or at least try to. That's the goal. It happens.
yeah. And I mean, it just got to a point where I was like just foaming at the mouth, cussing people out, and I'm just like, this isn't even who I am. Like this is just
Yeah,
like
it happens.
it.
I've been there
Yeah.
too. I mean, I remember when I was a teenager, I was just mad about everything.
Oh, me too. Everything.
Like we all come across that point. Like everyone I think can relate. Uh Unless they had a perfect life, which doesn't exist, but it happens.
You'd be surprised. But then again,
Yeah.
those people that act like they're never mad about anything, like it's never actually that way, like ever.
Yeah. A lot of people are good at hiding. I think I've grown kind of good at hiding that a lot too. Cause I have like this thought process where I don't like to show that I'm like upset or bothered by certain things that do genuinely bother me because I feel like it's out of like it makes me feel like I'm weak or I put myself in a weak position. So in that, like I definitely have a hard time like balancing how to I guess express myself in some ways like that I'm upset about this because
I think
then
you should express it, but be do it constructively. Don't do it. If you're angry, I wouldn't turn on the camera and just start effing and blind and fucking,
yeah, yeah, exactly.
like handle it. Show how you're feeling, but be
More thoughtful about it.
yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Like how many times I've turned on my camera and I just like right away just started effing and blinding, and there's so many videos that like I've recorded that I've uploaded that there are other versions of these videos that exist where I'm just effing and blind and
Yep.
yada yada yada. And
Yep.
those versions of the videos they don't ever see any they
Yeah,
don't
he ends
ever
up
get
deleting
uploaded.
them. It's the same thing. Like I recorded a video like 2 weeks ago, and I think it was about like Velma,
The scoot, oh
that
fucking
stupid
god.
bullshit. And the first time I recorded it, I've listened to it back, and I'm just like, who does this help? Who's this like I just feel like I'm just really angry, and I'm not really expressing myself in a way that gets my point across. So I'm like, you know what? I don't want to upload this because it just doesn't feel right. It feels like I'm being too malicious, and like the point I did want to get across didn't get across right. So I just re-recorded it, and I took into account like, what I want to do, and what is the goal of the video. And it came out, in my opinion, better than the original version did.
Always, always, always. Yeah, like, yeah, I mean, I can't express to you how many times I've turned on the video and I'm just mad. Mainly I'd make videos when I come home from work and I'm already mad because I had a bad day at
Yeah,
work, and I'm
yeah,
just I'm
it
just pissed
happens.
off. Like, I just have this look on my face. I'm sat there like pouting and shit, and I'm all like, I really don't need to upload that. I think I need to remake the video, and I always remake the video when I'm calm, I've relaxed a lot, much better experience.
Yeah, like honestly, I just like to listen to my videos again. Like, let me just listen to this to make sure that what I wanted, the goal of the video, is present.
Yeah,
And if it's not, I will go re-record it because it's like I'm not gonna just throw something out there that isn't like it isn't what I wanted to get across. If you don't communicate, or at least to your best ability, communicate what you want to anybody else, then you didn't really do what you wanted to do. So just throwing that stuff out there, it's not the best thing to do. A lot of people just throw stuff out there just because, like, oh, it's content, it's content. But it's like, if you're not happy with it, I don't understand why you make YouTube videos.
exactly. And I know that side of me, like that the anger side. I actually used to be a ranter years ago. I don't have none of those videos, and that channel doesn't exist anymore. But I used to do rant videos, so that side of me comes out. But then I have to think that's not who I am anymore. That's who I was 7, 8 years ago. That's not who I am now. So it just, like, I know people like when I rant because I can really start flinging shit everywhere, and it's everybody loves it. But do I really need to be like that all the time? Like, no, I don't think people
Nah,
should just know that side of me. Like, I
yeah,
try to be really calm and cool, but when something stupid goes down, I'm gonna fling shit everywhere. I don't care. It just is what it is. But
yeah. For
it
for
was
me, so for me, I don't have like scripts. At
me
most,
neither.
if I'm doing like a review, I have bullet points. Like if it's a review of a video game, I want to make sure I talk about the sound. I want to make sure I talk about the story, like stuff like that. But like, I don't have a script. Most of my videos that I title like a rant weren't intentionally supposed to be rants. It's just that I made
It's
the
what it
video
turned into.
and it turned into like a segment about like ranting, and it was natural. It's what I wanted to get across, and it ended up being rants. And then I titled it rant.
Yeah, what I've had to do several times. Like, I remember I did a video. I think it was like why I thought H2O was better than 2018, and then I just added, like, it wasn't planned. I just after the main part of the video, I went on like a big 15-minute fucking frothing at the mouth tirade about stupid fans, and I'm like, I probably shouldn't have recorded that, but I'm gonna leave that in there. And then people ended up really liking it.
Yeah, definitely. Oh
So
man,
sometimes
but
it's good to vent anger, and then other times I feel like I just go so overboard with it that I just, like, I don't need to upload that.
yeah, it's
Don't
just
need to
like you
upload.
have to question if it's constructive or not. If it's not constructive, then why even put it out there? If you feel like it's constructive, it makes sense. It gets a point across, and it's natural. Then it's like, why not?
Yeah, just
And
why
people
not?
do find it entertaining. They do.
Well, back in the day, I used to watch ranters just all the time, like, because I thought them flinging their arms around, fucking fling, just like, I don't know. I used to watch this ranter called the Archfiend. I used to love
Mm,
his videos.
okay.
Um, Back in the day, all that was cool, but here in 2023, like, we don't. It just doesn't have the same effect anymore.
Have you ever watched this YouTuber? And oh my god, I wish he would make consistent like videos now. But Alpha Omega Sin,
Yeah,
I he was like one of my all time favorite YouTubers. Honestly, like he
he's
kind
a
of
gamer and a
inspired me.
metalhead. Trust me, me and him would get
Exactly.
along
I'm like, I
perfectly.
feel like you would know him probably even better than I do because he like yeah, like you said, he's into metal. He's also into video games. He would have his like his videos where he'd passionately talk about like a video game franchise or a video game that he had played. And then there'll be times where he does make rant videos, just completely just shitting on something that he felt is genuinely wrong. And all of it was so like I was so engaged. If it be like him passionately talking about something good, like positive, or him just passionately like ranting about something. And there's something about his content that I thought was like he's a great YouTuber. I wish he would consistently make videos again, but he kind of just has his little moment for like a month, and then he's just like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna leave for a year." It's like,
But he
hey,
can because he's Alpha Omega Sin.
exactly. It is what it is. He'd done YouTube for like what 10 years. I'm
Yeah,
sure at that
I
point,
love his videos. I think that
yeah.
every video he did, I think I've seen and I've liked. Then
I've
there's
actually went back to watch like a lot of his old videos for fun because they were entertaining. They're more entertaining than most videos that people make now, in my opinion.
Do you ever remember a ranter that went by the name Undertaker Freak 1127 by any chance?
No, but that name sounds ridiculous. So much so that I actually want to look them up.
Well, no, he's not there anymore. Now he goes by
Aw,
he went by AEW Freak, and then now he's some leftist in Finland, I think, is what he's called because he apparently moved to Finland. He used to make some really good rants back in the day, and then I used to kind of shit on the guy for because like the whole mental health thing, but then I start realizing that that was me not all that long ago. So then it's just it was with him it's weird, but he used to make there's some really good archived videos, some really good rants he used to do. Like really good ones. I'll actually have to shoot you like somebody went and archived not all of his videos, but like a good handful of them, and they're actually really good. And I wish the dude would make more videos like that. But
yeah,
they were like over 10, 11 years old. But back in the day, those kind of videos resonated with me
yep,
because I just
yeah.
ranted about everything too.
Exactly. Like I honestly have those moments, and it's like I like when I go watch like Alpha Megason's like old videos, like him bitching about Aeneas Sarkeesian being a fucking idiot. Like I remember be like at the time where that was like the big point of contention in gaming. Like it's honestly like a lot of YouTubers' content is just like historical in some ways. Like I remember deal like when we were going through this and that and just going back and watching a lot of stuff. It brings I mean sometimes not necessarily good memories, but I remember when that was like the big deal at the time, and now it seems like a joke in comparison to like modern times and the things that we're facing now.
Yeah,
It's crazy how things change.
it's also amazing how it seems like years ago people predicted this is how society would be, and then they weren't wrong
Yeah.
at all.
Uh,
Society is soft. Everybody's kind of just not all there in the head.
there's the old saying that's like, you know, what is it? Hard times make strong people, and then weak times make weak. I mean, no, wait. Strong times make weak people, and then hold on. I'm messing this up.
I don't know how
Hard
the saying
times,
goes.
hard times make. I'm gonna have to look this up because it's like it's really simple, but I'm completely shitting the bed with it. It's like good times make weak people, and then hard times make strong people.
It
And
goes hard times create strong men, strong men create good times create weak men create hard times.
yep, exactly.
Yep.
See, it's a little more complicated, I guess, for me to have said it myself, but exactly that it literally is that we're seeing that happen, and it's like I remember back in the day, like everything felt like it, everything's getting better and better as time goes on, and now I just feel like we're on like this decline.
Yeah, and it just makes me think like the thing that it makes me think of the most is that people Gen was it Gen Z people or so, these motherfuckers wouldn't survive 5 seconds in a Modern Warfare 2 Xbox 360 Xbox Live
Yep,
chat. They would not not fucking survive
yep,
5 seconds. The shit
yep,
that we used to say back then.
yeah. Everyone is vicious. Everyone was I was so when I started playing like Call of Duty Online, I was 14. It was Modern Warfare Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. Bro, it, you would say, "Oh my god, you're a victim." No, I was not a victim. I was talking so much shit to like people like twice my age. I was a complete bitch. Like I developed all of my like shit talking skills from those lobbies, and I definitely can't sit here and say, "Oh yeah, I was a victim because I was a 14-year-old girl." No, no.
No. I was like 10 when World at War came out. I was like 9 or 10 when World at War came out, and just all the shit that
Yep,
I was not somebody that really talked on the mic, but if somebody was on there grabbing shit or talking shit to me, I'd put that mic on and I'd fucking shut them up. Like
yep. I
I was like
would
a kid
go.
shutting up grown adults.
I was like my hobby was to get on Call of Duty, to be in the lobbies, to talk shit. Like it was just like a challenge because it's like you never know who you're gonna come across. And at that time, everyone was just obsessed with getting to know other people. I made some friends on those lobbies, play games together, and I would definitely make a lot of enemies too. It was like the I wasn't afraid of the unknown. I wanted to like go and talk shit to people and just to like just the fun of like what is this person going to say to me and how am I going to respond? And sometimes I took L's on that front. It is what it is. And then sometimes I said some heinous things that I would dare repeat. It happens. We're so young and dumb in the
I had a
free and open
guy
internet.
I had a guy, I think it was after a match in Modern Warfare 3. He sent me a message saying that he was going to, what was it, hack into the thing, find my address, come kidnap me in the middle of the night, and then he said he was gonna take me out on a boat, tie cinder blocks to my feet, and then throw me in the water and leave me out there. He left me a big
Oh
fucking
my
thing,
god.
all because I fucking beat him in 1v1.
And on 360, like a lot of people would send messages like that. They would actually, and some of them wouldn't have like the keyboard pads that attach to your 360 controller. They would literally like scroll to each letter to write all this shit. And it's like
I had
just
the
thinking,
keypad thing, yeah.
yeah, I had one of those too, but just thinking back at like what people would do just to get their point across is is interesting. It made me like a tough person
Yeah,
because to be able to deal with that, like you do eventually like grow thick skin. It just comes naturally.
that's why I have really thick skin. If it wasn't for Xbox Live chats back in the 360 days, I wouldn't have the thick skin that I have right now.
Exactly.
Just some of the stuff that was said to me, whether it been hateful or the perverted stuff that I would get sent. Like somebody said they wanted me to send a picture of my feet or something like that. It's just I get all kinds of weird shit like that, and that eh, I'm grateful for that experience of
Yeah.
Xbox 360, Xbox Live chats.
Yeah, I say the same thing because it's like nothing phases me now. I feel as though for the most part I'm properly equipped to deal with anything anyone will say to me that is heinous with malice, unless it's like legitimate doxing or like if you're gonna like hack me. I guess I use that term very loosely because like a lot of people say they're gonna do something, they don't know what they're doing. Like they just say that just to say that. Those cases like I believe like honestly like the swatting stuff is insane. Like that's like it doesn't, I don't believe it happens as much anymore. At least I hope it doesn't happen as much anymore.
It
But
used to happen all the time.
exactly. It was like an epidemic at one point where you'd hear like every few days like some big streamer got swatted. I don't know if you know the what is it, Dr. Disrespect? Like he
Yeah,
had a drive by, I think like twice in a week where someone drove by his house and shot at it. That's horrifying, bro. Like we could stick to all the shit talk. Let's just not let it go there. Especially over video games. Like,
yeah, shit talk's fine, but when you do drive-by shootings, I think that's taking it just a tad bit too far.
yep.
Drive-by
Yeah.
shootings and swattings. It's probably don't need to go to that extent, but people will.
Yeah. Yeah, like that stuff's scary. But
I don't fear it. I mean, if somebody I'll shoot back. I don't give a fuck. But
you know, I like obviously I completely 100% believe in self-defense, but I would just like to avoid that entirely.
oh,
You
me
can
too.
have I'd rather talk things out, bro. Like, no need to come by my house and shoot at you. Or like, I wish that on no one, man. Like, I don't want anyone to deal with that kind of stuff, especially if you live with like loved ones. Yeah, that's horrifying. A thought process, you know.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, if somebody ever gets the idea where they want to come shoot my house, expect bullets to go flying back your way. That's my philosophy there. No, nobody's gonna show up at my house and fucking start causing problems. In this day and age, you gotta have thick skin. Thankfully, I have it too. Yeah, yeah, you gotta have thick skin.
Yep, definitely. It's great, you know, honestly. Don't let people tell you different. You gotta have thick skin. A lot of people, I mean, one of my favorite actors is Bruce Lee. I grew up watching Bruce Lee. I was obsessed with Bruce Lee for a long time, and he said, like, you know, do not pray for an easy life. Pray for the ability to like to have the strength to deal with a difficult one, because life is not easy. Be
No,
prepared for it. Do what you got to do to better yourself in order to deal with hard situations that you're inevitably going to come across, because it's going to happen. I don't want to scare anyone. I don't want to make anyone feel uncomfortable. I honestly genuinely hope that nobody has to go through hardship. But that's not a realistic thought. And but the best thing I could hope for is that everyone is well equipped to deal with anything that comes their way.
yeah. Holy fuck, that scared me. Um, yeah, no, it's like she said. I think definitely when you have bad life experiences, it makes you more wise to whenever you encounter another bad life experience. You're equipped with the tools to handle it better. Is the way I like to look at it.
Yep, definitely. But I think, damn, we've
We've been
we've
on here
went
for two and a
everywhere.
half hours.
We've went everywhere with this stream.
Yeah, that wasn't even the intention either. I said that initially when we first started, we were doing Hogwarts Legacy, and then we just go into whatever or wherever, and we
It
literally
did.
did that.
It did.
Literally,
But it was a good conversation.
it was
Definitely some cool people in the chat that came through. It's really good to
surprisingly,
see.
other than at telling me to what was it they wanted me to do? Snort a line of coke. Well, I told them that we would if we have time. Unfortunately, we don't have time for them. So sorry. So maybe next time.
Maybe, just maybe.
No, I actually purposefully drew this out. So I didn't have to do that. Yeah. I think we're gonna go ahead though, and if my computer wants to cooperate with me, we can end the broadcast in about 5 seconds. So I'm gonna go ahead and say goodbye. So
Hi everyone. It
unless
was a
there's
good
anything else you wanted
conversation.
to say, unless there's
We
anything
had a
else
great
you wanted to
conversation.
say, nope.
Everything's good. Can't complain.
Great conversation.
Yep.
All right, me either. So we're gonna go ahead and end. Thank you guys for tuning in. Till next time. See you guys.